Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. I hope you're having a phenomenal day so far. And welcome to this evening's stream where we're playing on Throne Thursday Crusader Kings III game, where we are working our way to develop the West from duchies to dynasties. It's been a bit of a rough time for my empire. I'm playing as Mali. And you see the other players are just joining in at the moment, so it'll be a few moments before we get underway. That is entirely my fault this week. For some reason, the game wasn't showing up. So I am currently at Civil War. My favoured ally in this particular case is away for this week, so I'm going to be dealing with well, we'll be interested to see how it goes. So last week, I think we fought in somewhere between 3 and 7 wars, trying to hold Mali together after there was an accidental change of dynasty on my part. So trying to sort that all out now, and that's going to be my focus. My main game aim for my own campaign has really been looking at trying to get our area to be the most developed on the map. You can see we've had some success at that. One of the most developed areas. We have been the most developed historically across the world, but that's kind of fallen a little bit. The other nations are starting to catch up that are more development focused now. So I'm going to be trying to spread development across Africa and holding together the Empire of Mali. We'll see whether that's successful or not. And we're going to be joined by Ryan, Dirty Old Hobo, Angst, Russ, and Daft Panzer. So without further ado, let's start grabbing those guys into chat. Also, let's just send our test messages on all of the different platforms. And if you're watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. And yeah, we should have some fun. This is one of our community games. Everyone is welcome to join. And I need to grab Ryan in to see what's happening. Hey, Ryan, you just dropped.
Yeah, I just TTD'd.
Yeah, good news, Flanker. Ryan
Excellent.
just got his crash out early, so he won't crash later.
Yeah, so that's your quota. You're not allowed any more this week now. That's
You know how it had a 1 week, like almost exactly a 1 week cycle. Maybe it's 1 week minus an hour or so cycle.
Hey, Cookie.
Oh, do you have a daylight savings this weekend?
My game is still loading.
Yeah, that's no problem, Russ. Yours is actually progressing though.
Because we have our daylight savings next weekend, not this coming one, but the one after.
Ours is March 31st.
Ah, okay. That's way later than I expected it to be.
Yeah. So we also changed back on October 27th.
Gosh darn British not being the same as everyone else. It's totally not us being different than anyone else. No, it's the British.
There's a lot of things you could accuse the British of, and most of them are true. But yeah, I think actually I'm not sure where daylight saving started. We've had it for 115 years, so
most of the British museums are, after all, just war trophies.
Yes.
Colonization trophies.
I see. Then you're the one
Slim.
who probably started it, Flanker.
Who's your favourite streamer? I'll ask them, Slim. I'll see if I can message Sly for you, bud. If you're not already following Slim, you definitely should do a twitch.tv/SlimX. If anyone wants to join, they're most welcome to. We have kingdoms available in Mali, and I need all the help I can get.
True.
Yeah, Flanker is really good at dying in this game. More so than he is in other games.
Well, in this case, the reason he keeps dying is because he had to go house seniority. So his incredibly large house would always inherit to the oldest person of said house.
And it's going to take an absolute age to change that. because I have to get to a point I've got a character that is young enough to survive long enough and has enough heirs to continue the dynasty onwards. So, Russ, you're now showing us loaded from Maya, my friend.
Ah, yes. So who was Laz, or where was Laz?
He is the Kingdom of Guinea as part of the Empire of Mali. And unfortunately, I think you're going to be fighting wars this entire time, bud. We've had some...
As Russ normally
Unfortunate.
plays a Viking, I think he's pretty good at that.
No, it's the Vikings that are pretty good at war. They just make me look good too.
Meanwhile,
Ireland
I have
Vikings.
an interesting thing from the local store. Hickory smoked beef brisket potato dip.
You're just putting
For-
words together now. Like,
That's what it is.
you've got a
Just-
promising future working for a razor company.
It's Smokehouse.
Fusion Pro 5
Elite.
Advanced
It's
Power.
Smokehouse beef brisket dip.
That sounds okay, to be fair. It does sound like a lot of words to describe a thing. But... And by smokehouse, am I guessing there's artificial smoke flavor added? Because whenever companies say, "Oh yeah, let's do farmhouse,"
On
they do
on
it
the
here
top,
too.
on the top, it does say it made with genuine smoked beef brisket.
And genuine liquid smoke.
For what it's worth, it's pretty good. Enough for, as an American, I want to go get more.
I need to order some more salt and pepper spice mix, because we're running low on that particular crack.
I was gonna say you are normally ample in the salt. So I don't know about pepper.
Actually, I don't tend to eat a lot of salt. I just tend to get very angry again. I don't know. Be down with the kids. I know what salt is. Hey, Daft.
Hello, fellow kids. Yes.
Yeah, back in the day, having any kind of spice was a luxury from far off India. I know.
Yep. And as a result, they would actually often oversalt their dishes. The higher class.
Well, they were salted for preservation, and also salt at, depending on which point in history we're talking about, was incredibly valuable.
Yeah, but keep in mind the what's it called? They didn't exactly have great cooks back then, in plenty. Whereas today we have lots and lots of great online resources to use to learn to cook.
Oh, I think the decimation of knowledge is definitely different now, but I would suggest that the 14th century courts of the royalty would probably had plenty of good cooks. The equivalent of the Michelin star today.
What? No, almost certainly
Yeah.
not, because the cooking technology was nowhere near where it is now.
Well, it's not
Come
about
on
the
now,
fancy
Ryan.
technology. It's an art, right? It's a
Yeah.
technique.
Look
As long as
up
you've got
the history of French cooking, and then
Well, France is naturally known for its pompousness throughout history.
And
But,
it's
I mean-
also known for its bread.
I mean, come on, Ryan. You're really questioning Flanker when we know he was there?
Fair point.
you
Eyewitness
all
to
okay?
But I will question his taste buds. As he gets older, his taste buds slowly die. So he can't taste how good the food is now compared to back then.
Wow.
Well, he was pretty old back then anyway.
Wow. Russ, are you gaining your mic, bud? Just checking, because you're slightly peaking, buddy. I've toned you down a lot.
Yeah, everyone was having trouble hearing me last time, and I discovered that it was set to like half in the Windows control sound panel thing, so I maxed it. Let me go turn it down a little.
That's
Or
all
I
right.
could just
That's all right. The only you don't need to turn down a whole lot. It's only that your mic is peaking at the moment.
yeah, and I just remember that it's got a gain dial on it, and I've turned that down. Is that any better?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. You're not getting the same peaks, and you're still just as loud.
Good.
You may be 10% quieter, but yeah, that's good. No more.
Okie dokie.
Yay.
Oh, so you got loads of work done for university today, son. Nice.
So I've done something with Baldur's Gate 3 where now it's using both graphics cards, and it runs so much better.
Well, that sounds pretty nifty.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it.
I'm not sure you did.
No, it was. It only happened after I changed it to use the Intel graphics card for one session. And then I changed it, and then it was starting. Then like next session I played it, it was starting to use the NVIDIA capture card again, and I was confused because it still had the Intel graphics card being used theoretically, but it was using both, and it was running great. So I'm like, cool.
That's interesting and doesn't make any sense to my tired brain.
I CTD it again. I think I'm gonna verify files.
Okay.
Verify files. Why isn't this working? Gonna take 1 minute.
No worries.
Or maybe less because it's going way faster now.
Well, I have the most important question of all. How are you today, Daft?
Sorry, was that to me or Flanker Hobo? Sorry, I had your volume down too low and my music too high.
See, normally I ask the most important question, how is Flanker? But today, how are you, Daft?
Oh, I'm honoured. I'm okay. I had a quite a long day at work doing lots of work stuff. But I was doing a lot of work, but I didn't really feel productive. If that makes sense, as sort of things that I was kind of obliged to do, but I knew weren't really going to help the students. Putting together this online quiz, and well, like it's an online assessment, basically online exam, but multiple choice questions and things of that nature. But they've overloaded it with loads and loads of questions because all the different tutors from a different who were teaching different weeks on the course all wanted to pile in with loads of questions of their own, and so I ended up with this Google Doc, and I started going through everything. I didn't realize how much content there actually was until I was about 2/3 of the way through. So, there's a bit of a rambling story here, but basically there's an online assessment. It's only supposed to be like 20 random questions that the students would do over the course of 40 minutes, but I ended up doing 140 different questions for it in a question bank, and then there's a kind of random selection. So I kind of realized towards the end that this is completely pointless, but I kind of had to do it at that point. That was the kind of theme for today. That and fixing other people's messes where they broke stuff. Did not import content properly between different sites. So I had to go through and replace a bunch of images.
That sounds super familiar. I'm sorry, mate. That sucks.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, like I've had quite a few easy days recently, so I think it was just like the universe balancing out, kind of thing.
So when I was validating, Steamworks Common redistributables did something, and then it validated again. So
I'm back. Oh,
I think that means something was wrong.
hello there, Sir Banks.
Hello.
Ryan is getting all of his crashes out early.
Oh, that's good. That means we can play more consistently.
Hopefully. Because
How was your day, by the way, Herbert?
the verification seems to have caught something.
I had the normal of making sure that everything is ready for the morning crew, and then doing stuff that the previous crew did not do that they normally don't do every single time. So,
That sounds a lot like retail. Or hospitality. Or taking over from someone in a call center. That sucks, bud.
I've done both the first and last one, but it's okay. I'm used to it. Like, and it's not like it's this thing that wasn't done is gonna take an hour. It's just like a lot of little things that add up to an hour. You know?
Yeah, it's all the small stuff when you discover other people haven't done things. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. Oh, I'll do that. Oh, I haven't done that either. Oh, I'll just do that. It only takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, then 10 5-minute things later, suddenly you're an hour and a half short when you wanted to do other things. Even better when even the distributors who are supposed to check their goods before bringing in new ones don't bother to do that, and then they just kind of dump the new stuff on top of the old stuff, which is the opposite of how you do it in retail, because you put the older stuff up in front.
Yep.
So there's nothing quite like going through the ice cream section and finding ice cream dated December, because they don't actually do their job. So that's another thing that I have to do.
Wow.
Yeah. I have this whole list on my phone of things to take out, when to take them out, for like the next month and a half. Because I know that if I don't, there's going to be stuff that sits in the back of the shelf for the next 5 months. Basically, the only one that does that, but it makes me feel like I'm useful there, and as I've mentioned before, really nice thing about there is anything that does end up out of date, unless it's a particular item, is a free game, so it raises my pay up by like a few dollars relatively.
Oh, right. Yeah.
When I can go a full week of my lunch just being stuff that I got from there, it kind of pays off quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like a nice little bonus.
Yeah. And then, how is your day of apparently getting yelled at, Flanker?
Well, I got yelled at. It's kind of the job. It's just one of those things that is literally my job. Is I have a team of people, and the correct way of things happening is that the most senior person gets yelled at, and we've established I'm old, and then then the rest of my team get on with their work in the meantime. So I spent 4 hours a day being yelled at about a thing that wasn't like. The worst thing about it is that the person that was yelling at me, or people that were yelling at me, had excellent points, and it's not for them to know that it's not our problem, the problem they're facing. So we are solving the problem for them. It's not our fault. But there's no point in it's better to let people take their rage out for a little bit and then come back and let them feel like they've kicked the dog than try and explain to them that this was actually not our fault. It was do something else, and we were directed to do the things that we've done so far. And that doesn't really help anyone. Just like, oh no, sorry, okay, we'll get on it.
That's smart.
No, that seems pretty dumb.
No, it's
No.
Taking the blame for something that's not your fault makes you look bad is kind of silly.
the thing is, they're not. When someone's at that point where, it's the thing I used to find that I've worked a lot of jobs, and the thing you need to remember is that they're often not yelling at you. They've had a bad day, like everything sucked, and something's happened that they've decided this is the most important thing in the world now, and you're the person they can shout at. Same as when I worked in a contact center like 20 years ago. Like you pick up the phone and they're, listen to me, you've ruined my day, with the first words out of their mouth. Because it was just like, they'd come back, it's like near payday, they've got a bill through the door, or they've come back and they found out they haven't got any of insert utility here. And decided that you're the reason for all of the world's woes today. Like, as long as you don't take it personally, it's better to let them have that time and then come back to them later when you've solved the issue, and then give them some more context then. Because otherwise it just turns into a stand-up fight. And like, I don't have any.
Better yet, take the blame for it, and also be the one to tell them when quote unquote you have fixed it.
Well, it will be when I fix it, because whether it's my problem or not is now my problem. So, being a professional problem solver, it's kind of the job. So, as a senior, I get shouted at instead of my team, and as a consultant, I need to make it my problem to solve their problem.
Well, it certainly makes a lot of sense to have the most senior member take the yelling.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make anyone work faster being yelled at, and I'm the one with the thickest skin, and also the most senior person.
Yeah, and everyone else actually has skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they can put to work.
Flanker has a lot of skills. They're just so small and spread out that it's really difficult to pinpoint one thing that he's good at.
And incredibly common.
Yeah, honestly, my career's been built on like just knowing lots and lots of a reasonable amount about a huge number of things, and then figuring it out when someone asks me a question.
Just enough to make it look like you know what you're talking about.
Well, just enough to actually have a good idea that that you're not doing the Dunning-Kruger effect of like, I know everything. I know just enough to know how little I know in lots of things. So, and have the experience to know when to not promise things because I don't know enough yet. But, yeah, a lot of my early career was like being told, hey, you figured out this problem over here in like, let's say IT development. Like, what do you know about global payments? What's the question? And then figuring that problem out, like, oh, cool. What do you know about logistics? And then figuring that out. Because a lot of the time, like, problem solving is just being very dedicated to finding a solution and like being someone to focus on it. It's not rocket science. The clever bit is working out really clever solutions to stuff over time. But in the meantime, it's just lots of hard work, which I don't think people necessarily think of when they see consultants, because they see the end bit of you walking into a meeting and people listening to you, generally, or ignoring you, and then seeing you walk into a meeting a few weeks later and assuming you've done nothing between the two. So it's interesting and varied. And I am definitely living in interesting times on one of my projects at the moment. I think it's the old Chinese curse.
What's a Chinese curse? Sorry, I'm showing my ignorance.
May you live in interesting times.
Ah, right.
So, yes.
Funnily enough, that coincides with when Flanker was in Asia, when that phrase came about.
Hey, have you seen our Wednesday game? I know it didn't happen this week because we were missing players, but like my Wednesday game is just me getting kicked from province to province in the Far East.
Oh, so I take it you haven't quite formed the Tibetan Empire yet.
No, I don't think that is ever happening. Because I've been I'm in the position that everyone around me has alliances now, and I'm also a pacifist. I chose poorly. So it was interesting. So being a pacifist, declaring war causes problems. Getting to declare war is a problem. Making claims is a problem. No raiding. Like I miss raiding. Hi. It looks like you have resources. We would rather like those. We're planting this flag here. Don't worry about it.
Is British is showing again?
It's our cultural traditions, you know.
As
If people didn't want us doing it, they'd stop us.
terribly sorry, so you might have to look at the last 80 years. they kind of have.
Okay, play on without me.
What, have you crashed
Did you
again?
crash again?
Yeah.
Oh no!
You literally got to 100%.
I know.
Try joining again now. I'm letting it run to the end of the month. Oh, also I need to remember where I'm meant to be in war.
I know a solution for this.
What's that?
New game.
The Russian solution. I've got my development goals. Innovations. We're in high medieval now for tech.
We want to get to late medieval for once.
Yes. I really need to get chronicle writing.
There should be a command that you can run on multiplayer games called character. That's just like character purge, and it purges all of the less relevant old characters, like the dead ones.
I thought that would just see me kicked out of the game, to be fair, but
I would
The dead
also
ones is what I meant.
I would also note that apparently the new DLC is coming out on the 4th.
yeah, so this will have bridged over a couple of generations. I'm really looking forward to that, actually. It's
Well, are you really looking forward to it, Flaker, or are you ready for you to turn it on and then immediately start the Black Death in your capital and half its development?
oh, like
Oh, I love that.
let's be honest, that is clearly happening to me. That's like if you always expect to get your behind handed to you, then you'll never be disappointed.
See, I've been playing the long game. I've barely had any development, so I'm gonna be the least affected in this campaign.
Why?
It is still running, by the way. It is now May, so I don't know if you wanted to pause.
Yeah, do you
it
want to try
eventually.
rejoining again?
Oh, I'm joining now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll pause it again.
Yeah, I haven't clicked anything since you unpaused it. Just figured I'd find out.
Oh, Task Manager crashed.
What?
That's a good sign.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Sorry, that's not funny, but it is kind of. That's,
Yeah.
I don't think your PC problems are CK3 problems, sir.
No, I don't think so either. So they seem to infect everything.
On the other hand, I just crossed 800 income. Thought everyone should know that.
Holy cow!
Wow.
And
Just,
this computer though has spent like a year or so without power.
Have you changed
What?
computer or?
Yes. Well, no, not recently. Okay, Discord wants me to log back.
When
in.
did you change your computer? Was it when you started having the weekly crashes?
No, I've had this computer the whole time.
Okay.
I've been playing.
No
Good
worries.
source,
Sorry, I
okay.
was trying to work out what the challenge is, my friend. Do you have a lot of stuff on that computer that you highly value that isn't backed up somewhere?
You've got some stuff, yeah.
You might want to make sure you start backing that stuff up, my friend, because I wonder whether there are you can't diagnose IT problems well, like remotely, without being able to see what's happening. But it does feel like that computer might actually be on its last legs, which could be a drive issue if it's a. But I think, and although your main drive is an SSD, isn't it? And that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my secondary drive.
I wonder if it's a power consumption or short or something. I don't know.
That's what I think it probably is.
And if it was a desktop, I can help walk through all the steps. The laptop, it's a lot more difficult unless you've got like a framework. Although I have to say, having said all of that, I still like in the days of yore when laptops were still things that you could get people to build specifically for you, which is coming around again, which is super cool. But I used to hate building laptops with a burning passion because it's very little space and lots of very fine cables.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're nearly halfway there.
Oh, really already? That's way faster than last time.
Yeah, that's.
It would be really funny if the update causes all of us to just get plagues constantly. We have too much development.
Yeah, I'd like. If it's based on development, I'm absolutely getting plagues.
Yeah, we need we need baths and what's it called, and sewers and stuff.
That totally makes sense. I'm super looking forward to seeing how they implement it. Because if I think with CK3, I think the balance is pretty good actually. But once you get past the pre-kingdom stage, your challenges are less varied at the moment. And it doesn't really punish you for not bothering to look after your people or only going economic or only going military. Not having enough military, you get punished pretty hard by because the local AIs will just ruffle stomp you, which is what we've had in Mali. Is like one bad war losing troop numbers means everyone go, oh, actually, I'd quite like some of that land. Hey, Horace. I'm interested to see how it works. And the cool thing is, it's DLC, so if it's totally pants, we can just turn it off.
Yeah. But another weird thing about my computer is that if I close the screen beyond a 90-degree angle to the keyboard, it turns off. The screen turns off. It doesn't like go to standby or anything. The screen disconnects for some reason. I am very hard on my things. That's all I know.
Yeah, it sounds like it's had a rough life. It might be a connector's loose or that it's pressing down on a cable. So one of the problems I had to solve with a load of HP laptops a few years ago was that they kept having keyboard failures, and people would insist they'd done nothing wrong with their keyboard and treated them well, and there were people I trusted that would have done that. Took them apart only to find that the very thin ribbon cable was over a bit of the steel chassis on all of that particular model, which then meant that over time it shorted or cut those particular cables, which, because it's not designed to be repaired, you couldn't just replace the cable, you had to replace the entire keyboard assembly, which is 130 something bucks.
Yeah. I think they should at least make Macs with Mac laptops with an attachable heat sink, So when you're using it on like as a desktop, you can attach it to that heatsink, and it'll cool the laptop.
It wouldn't really work. Like they've made some laptops before, not Apple, but there are laptops out there that are like water cooled laptops that you could plumb in water cooling externally on gaming laptops, but they're few and far between because they're kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, no, specifically Mac, because Mac laptops get super hot and don't have any thermal regulation in them.
Or they could just redesign the chassis. To redesign
yes, that would be
the
better.
cooling solution would be significantly better. Yeah. And I think, to be fair, modern Macs, well,
I have not
I
had
say
a
that
Mac
knowing I've got people with modern Macs have had issues, but
I got in, but I crashed.
You got in and crashed?
Yes.
What else are you running at the same time?
Right. So
Discord,
I wanted to.
What if I just
it might actually not be on you here. I didn't want to because I thought you would announce when you would click and unload. So I had been doing things. So I might have been done one or two things while you're actually loading in. I thought you were pausing and then you start loading.
Hang on, I'll start the game up. We'll do 7 days, and then do you want to try restarting? Or in fact, let's get to the end of the month. That'll be.
I am going to try something more. I'm going to restart the computer real quick because it takes like 2 minutes to restart my computer.
That seems to make sense. So if you restart, I am now pausing. Hang on. Right, we're paused now. Don't do anything, anyone.
Yes.
And we'll keep an eye out for you in the stream waiting room. Horace, are you wanting to join us, bud? I see you're in one of the community chats.
I'm restarting my PC. I talk on my Mac because my PC has audio problems.
I forgot that.
I'm just picturing.
It's a static cause short. I believe because it sounds exactly like static on a cable.
Can I ask you a question, my friend? Do you actually use your laptops as laptops as well, or are they really static on your desk? Okay.
Right now, no, they don't have the power for it. I use them as portable desktops.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. The problem is if your battery's wrecked on both of them, it makes it hard for them to deal with power spikes, depending on how the battery management system works. We'll see. See how it goes.
All right, I'm gonna go get the password now. I'm getting the password well before it's even launched.
No worries. It is a nightmare when tech's failing. It does sound like you are currently like stringing together as much as you can with string and chewing gum to let you keep playing. So fair play.
Yeah.
Sorry, it sucks when things go wrong.
I mean, all my life I've gone through tech really fast, and I want that to not be a thing for all my life.
Yeah. Sounds like you need to learn to take care of things.
The worst thing is I do.
That's what they all say.
Them, but I do take care of them.
If you're pulling power cables in and out, that's not taking care of them, buddy. Like, I know that you're not flinging. I'm assuming you're not flinging your stuff around, and you've got like a proper laptop bag when you're taking them out. But yeah. It's
okay. So the issue with my Mac is that the connection to power is very finicky on this specific Mac model. So it would come in and out a lot
issue.
Back in the day. It was a design issue, and on my PC, there's an issue with the slot that the power goes into, and it strips over time. So now that I know that happens, I don't I try not to move my my power cable around a lot.
Yeah,
I used to,
I genuinely think, like, for the future, not something you can do right now, but you might find it really beneficial to have a smaller desktop that you can put the cables and stuff out of the way. Because if the cables, I totally get it. Like, if your laptop's sitting there with, you know, because there's lots of things that can happen with the laptop that regularly happen. Like, people pick up a laptop and forgot it's still being, you know, it's still plugged in, and drag half their desk with them, or put a lot of strain on the port. But if you are looking for gaming in the future and you don't care about the mobility as much, depending on your other use cases, because sometimes gaming laptops are the best solution, you might find it easier if everything's out of the way, because I don't even see my cables from my desk. So the worst I can do is do something like unplug my mouse or my keyboard, and that's not particularly detrimental to anything. Like, you might wear out a port on a mouse or keyboard, but even a relatively expensive mouse and keyboard is cheaper to replace than a motherboard. Or
yeah.
And also having something you can upgrade, and I don't mean like, oh, you'll be able to do a thing and upgrade it for life. That's always rubbish. But having something you can replace parts more easily on, knowing that you seem to go through parts, is probably going to be helpful. Yeah,
is important.
Yeah, and like
part of it is my ADHD and tendency to fiddle with things.
I totally get it. I think
when that thing is a power cable.
Yes, and your mind. I think sometimes people forget that that tendency to fiddle is unconscious. It's not something you're sitting there thinking, oh, pull the power cable out. That seems fun. It's like you find your mind drifting and you've pulled it out and put it back in again. And so having something that all of that's out of your line of sight will mean you're likely to fiddle with something else instead.
For this one, actually, I like what my mind likes to do is turn the power cable in its socket.
Yeah,
which is how it strips really, really easily.
Yes.
So remember when you said you take good care of your electronics?
No, I maintain them. I take care of them. But I don't take care with them.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But yeah, putting a desktop in and hiding it under your desk, or having it on your desk and like a monitor covering over where the cables are, you might genuinely find helpful.
I know exactly where I'd put a desktop, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got a space in the back corner of my room just behind my desk.
Yeah, because it needs to be somewhere it can still breathe, and ideally not directly on the floor, only because dust buildup will then cause you different problems. But those problems, to be clear, are super easily solved. It just requires a little bit of time and maintenance every so often.
It's a big enough corner that
cool.
it can definitely breathe. My desk and my bed make like a T, where my bed is the cross of the T.
That's neat.
Huh. Yeah.
I was looking around my desk, cleaning my stuff on my desk at the moment.
I should do that more often.
Yeah. I do love these mounting keyboards because it lets me at least clean the numpad by just pulling it off the side and cleaning it without pressing the buttons down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my S&D keys are dying right now. My W key is fine, but my S&D are the problem.
So you're running away
you're not
to the
in-game,
right, then.
No, I think it's actually that my nail hits the S key when I go to it.
If it's just the keycap, no, laptop. Never mind. Ignore that.
Well, it is just the keycap that's dying.
Yeah.
And my alt key has fallen off completely. It's hanging in there by gravity alone.
You might find, I suppose, the problem is it's all a problem of scale, right? Like if you move to a desktop, you've then got a monitor, and having the monitor then means you're more likely to be able to use like even the cheapest of keyboards, because that will be cheaper to replace, or a slightly more expensive keyboard that you can change the switch and keycaps over. Which that is, it's,
I'm gonna want one of those keyboards that has a hand vest, a vest vest, because carpal tunnel is an issue for me.
Yeah, I'd personally suggest like a separate wrist rest from the keyboard. If you were going for a separate keyboard.
Oh yeah, with the way I run through things, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's not that. It's that honestly, keyboard wrist rests tend to be pretty terrible. So I use a Fellows gel wrist rest. Like it's going to be different for everyone, but for ergonomics, it holds your wrist higher if you do bad habits like leaving your wrist rested on it. I couldn't say that fast.
I'm actually thinking of my mom's keyboard, which has the keyboard raised actually, and so to compensate for the wrist rest, the keyboard is raised, and I think it's slightly tilted. Basically, it's an ergonomical keyboard because she's programming all day.
That makes sense.
She recently got a new one, and for some reason it doesn't have the keys that she would use on her old one to switch between the local Mac and the Office PC. It just doesn't have those keys for some reason, or they don't work.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yes, she was very annoyed.
For me, it's media keys, so I don't have those on a keyboard. That's frustrating. Although now I say that, I've got media keys on this keyboard. I'm using a Stream Deck instead because I need more granular control than just turn volume down.
One of the nice things about the Mac model I have actually is that on Safari, I can skip ads like anywhere. Because it has the touchpad, and on videos there's a way to pan within the video, and it doesn't get disabled for ads. So if you go forward, it'll be after the 5 seconds that they need before you can skip, or it'll be closer to the end. So you can just skip ads like that. How am I doing on let's see. Is that 90 or is that something else? 95, I think. I'm looking at stream.
97 at the moment.
Nice. Just like what's it called? What oftentimes the stream quality will dip when I'm when the next video in the music playlist I've got comes up. Wait for it.
Well,
I'm in.
Okay, I'm hitting the start button and I'm pressing play. We're on slow and we've just gone past. And everyone has moved to the next day.
Thank God. Ooh.
Yay.
There you go,
You said that, and then we hung on the fourth. It was a 40-minute lobby stream. You took a while to get it set up in the first place. But still, it was pretty good for a lobby stream, I think.
Well, the stream has been up for 50 minutes. It was yeah.
Well, I got some really good tech advice.
Let's say some tech advice. When you get good tech advice, it's normally from Mark.
How do I manage to have an independence faction when some of the people in it have a plus 71 relation of me. It's like, good God, dude.
Another quirk about my computer. So the frame, you know how frames connect to other parts of the frame? Those parts on mine are like chipped here and there. So when I'm like resting just in front of my and like my arm barely touches the computer, it hurts a lot because I guess my body thinks I'm being pinched.
Don't
No
do that.
actual pain or no actual damage by any means. It just my body thinks it hurts a lot, like being stung by an ant, except without all the venom.
And you're sure it's by a sharp surface, not a small shock?
Yes,
Okay.
because I can repeat it over and over again.
Yeah, you can do that with a small shock as well, which I discovered on one of our
and it'll stay
laptops.
at the same energy.
Sorry?
And it'll stay at the same energy.
Yes.
Okay. So
It's
in
like
that
if
case,
you
in
have,
that case, it only
and
in
I
that
do.
case it only happens on the outside of my arm and doesn't happen on my fingers at all.
That's odd, but yeah, it may well just be a physical thing. I'm not sure what you can do about that, to be honest, without repairing or replacing that part that's exposed.
Yep.
Because I have
It's
had
literally
very
the outer casing that's touching me.
yeah. I've had very few electric shocks in my time, but I've had quite a lot of very small charge shocks off the end of USB cables where people have left them plugged in and it's been like hanging somewhere and you touch it and go, ow, that's sore. It's not enough even to register it's like a shock. It feels like hot.
I have had static shocks like crazy. The store I go to, the carts literally build up a static charge by rolling them around.
There used to be a store that did that near me, and I used to shock plan every now and again.
Well, that sounds more
because
fun
I'm a
than
grown-up, and that's a grown-up thing to
slap
do.
all the things I want. That sounds at least more fun than slapping all the items I want so that they won't shock me too hard. Who am I romancing? Who is this?
So, Hobo, did
Oh.
you say are you facing another civil war in Russia?
I just threw some money at people and
Ah.
it had some people leave. But yes, an
Yeah.
independence faction of people that, on average, have 50 plus relation with me.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah. Yeah.
But like half of them just left after I spent a couple hundred. So
I spent so long. I spent so long trying to convert Oxfordshire to my culture, and what does the AI do?
the AI force converted.
No, the AI switched over to collect
What?
taxes.
Damn it,
What did I do?
you you what do you say? You made a blunder, so now feudal taxes of someone in
Why am
my
I at 9 of 14
Oh.
holdings?
lands just got reduced. How dare you, Daft?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. What job was I doing again? I should know these things, right?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm chancellor.
It really doesn't matter. It's fine.
Oh well. It's,
Don't
I only
worry,
have 14
we've recently
diplomacy.
had a chancellor. It's not unusual for them not to know what they're doing. They almost crashed the UK economy, the last one here. Well, almost
Wow.
did.
yeah.
It's a problem though. I really want the Duchy of Lombardy, but if I do that,
It's okay, Flanker. I decided the best alternative was to just conquer the UK as Wales, because that's a better option.
He gave away Gloucester.
Oh,
I've been. You're not missing
AI
much.
Gloucester. I am missing the mine that I have built up.
I know.
And I also want to take Oxford.
For the record, I actually quite like Gloucester. I like.
Okay, I can revoke it all in 1 year. I do have a hook after all.
But yeah, Flanker, I started a achievement run in EU4 since we've been talking about it, adjacently so much. And it's to conquer places as Wales, and it has a lot of. It basically renames all of the local provinces in Welsh, which was a nice touch.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
where is the grand strategy? As a rugby player, Daft mentioned this, and I wanted to save it for when I was finished, but I'll do it now anyway. This is the achievement. I put it in the grand strategy. As a rugby player, Daft said you might enjoy that.
yes, I do. That's.
Well, that was an interesting touch. 'Cause I'd expect
Yeah.
them to cater more for their American audience or their European audience. I guess rugby is a bit of a niche sport in the grand scheme of things. So.
Hey! Look, we just beat England, so rugby is the only sport that exists in Scotland.
I beg your pardon.
And
Of course.
mostly in Wales. It's the one that we compete in outsized. It is the sport.
I do apologise. Otherwise, my comments may have caused offence to those people.
If we start winning another sport, then that will be the sport. I think curling was our last one.
One of the things that Paradox is really good at most of the time is finding really amusing names for their achievements in a lot of their games. It's nice to always
I
scroll
got a
through what the new
stutter.
ones are to see what the jokes are. Oh,
It's fine. Okay. Just keep
course
this
I go.
going.
Oh, I'm in another war. Damn it. Oh, it's an independence faction. And I've only just won that war.
you could do it, Flaker. You just gotta believe. And
I
wake
believe
up
I'm
Russ.
tired of war. Oh my word. At least I can use some of the troops immediately.
And wake up Russ so that way he can come help you.
Yeah, Russ, need help?
Oh yeah, wasn't
I'm
Russ,
busy in Spain.
Oh, you are here. Sorry.
Ah, damn it. Yeah, no, I get why. I can see you in the north. I think we're. Are you okay out there, mate? Do you want me to send some troops up? Because I'm planning on taking Malaga and Nibler, and then I'll start heading south. Hopefully I can hold them off until then. Thing is, we're going to lose so many troops because of this. Apparently this bit of water is completely unnavigable.
Why did my guy decide to go down to now 8 holdings when I had a domain limit of 15?
I wonder if the AI did that because there was people that were angry at you, so he did that to appease them. That's the only
Nope.
thing I can think of.
He gave it to family members.
Oh, well, that's why. It's probably something in the AI coding for relations.
It's in town.
Was it Daft that needed help?
Nope, not me.
Logo. And also Blanco, I think.
I like how I'm just so used to being the one suffering that it's just oh yeah, he probably needs help.
New Pope.
On the
Well,
theme of
money.
rugby, I'd just like to remind everyone that although we did beat England this year, so you know, that we're also
Who beat
still the reigning Five Nations champions. The fact that it's been 25 years since it's changed to the Six Nations doesn't matter. We'll forever be.
Oh my god, the Pope is blind.
Right, that's one war over with. Now I have to go and deal with the other.
Blind, disloyal, peasant leader, drunkard.
Are you extolling my best benefits here? That's
No, I'm looking at the Pope.
Well, I mean,
That's a
starting
peasant
as a peasant leader and becoming the Pope is certainly
that's a
leader.
journey.
Wow.
And he's blind.
I said that.
Disloyal.
yeah, and he did it while blind.
Yeah, I know you say that. Yeah, it's just like this guy has had a story. It's kind of crazy. He's also drunk and gonna die in a moment, I guess. But
It'd be really amusing if they I know it wouldn't actually be possible due to the limitations, but really be really amusing if when they do the wandering DLC that you could actually rise to like a theocratic level like the Pope.
I'm going to try and rush the capital.
That's where
Maghreb.
I'm going as well.
Yeah, I think if we both hit Maghreb's capital, they'll move up to the north. We'll lose quite a lot of troops on the way down. Yeah, stuff. I'm just going to rush Maghreb's capital. Because I think if we can do Maghreb, then I think the Kingdom of Tahert is already being warred by someone else, although they're warring us. So... how are you doing money-wise, Russ?
Plus 97.
Ah, you're richer than me, bud. Well done.
I've got 2k saved up if you want it.
No, I was looking at trying to, in the middle of this war, keep our development going, so you've
Are
got...
you sure? I don't mind.
No, positive, bud. I was looking at where to develop in your area.
I'm glad one of us is.
Yeah, if you look around Toro, there's some... I don't know if it's directly under your control, but the city of Sanafula, that's just to the right of your capital, has a Mason's Guild that can be upgraded, or... I think the Germana of Konyan, I'm not even sure that's... No, that's not in Toro's area.
I have a question, chaps. I was given a famed book, but I don't see. I was supposed to the core artifact, right? Okay, now, yeah, I've answered my own question. Sorry. Plus 10 prestige prowess from a book.
I'm going to actually, Russ, keep running past and see if I can take out those two armies.
Okie dokie.
I think it's probably going to go horribly wrong because one of my armies is going to be going out to sea and the other one is going on foot. So this embarking was going to suck.
Yeah, I'd disembark far away. Well, not far away, but like 30 days away.
Yeah, actually, I've got time before the siege ends. I'm just going to walk them. But I'm going to take more casualties, at least it. And it
The
means
casualties for going over land is like capped at 100 or so anyway, isn't it? So it really doesn't matter.
Isn't it 100 per area, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I've got attrition moves that are going to take 296 casualties. Every time I go through Tamazna. Yeah, everywhere. It's 296 casualties for mine. Which doing
Oh, I
that
thought-
4 times is painful. I've gone from 6 grand in that first army to 4-3.
Oh my god, the AI also seems to have destroyed one of my trebuchets. So I have to rebuy that whole thing.
Alright, I'm gonna go for that first 3k. I might get a beating here though. My other army's taking way too long to catch up.
I'll come help.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Between us, we might be able to stack wipe them. That first army. of mine's
Honestly,
got
I
most troops.
expected to be able to stack wipe them both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just going to take too long if I wait for the other army to catch up. So I have to take the damage. I'm 50 days out from my second army getting in there.
My army will be there in 20.
Nice. Thank you. I had armies once.
I put unstationed armored footmen. And these guys are stationed in somewhere that doesn't have stuff. Why are they stationed?
Oh, this is going to be tighter than I would like. Ah, there you go. Thank you for the rust ruffle stomp there. Much appreciated.
No worries.
That heavy cav.
You may not be able to rely on lads, but you can rely on me.
I hope Laz is watching to hear that.
So do I.
This is what a good co-op player sounds like.
All I hear from Laz is him constantly asking for favours from Flanker. Give me this goal position. Give me that.
To be fair, Laz has been freaking rock star in this campaign.
I was being a bit deliberately awkward.
Me too. Alright, that's another research thing done. What's our fascination now?
So I'm trying to like walk around and improve all the random holdings of my nation, right? But all of my goddamn vassal cultures are so stupid. They don't know how to build anything.
Are you
Your vassal
dumb?
cultures?
Rhetorical question. You are. Build stuff.
Well, if you want to make a new culture, then
Oh, I don't.
wait, you mean they don't have all the text already.
Yeah, they have absolute. Why am I ruling all these people? I don't really know what I'm doing here. Like why?
Oh, that
In that
describes
case,
me
you
in
could
every
probably
stream, bud.
increase you'd probably try increasing the.
I'm mostly kidding.
development.
It's really fine.
Yep.
But okay, there's a reason why most of my territory is kind of bad. It's not my fault.
I blame
They
that
could have.
flanker.
I blame Flanker. His fault.
Totally reasonable.
Oh, you already do upgrades in Daft's Landing. Now think about it. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's Daft percent. There's still like a 1 free slot. Do you want something there?
Sure. I mean, I am sitting on a load of money here, so I should probably be doing that myself.
Actually, I'm going to leave you to do that, McGrab. That doesn't make any sense to me to come. You've more than got that covered.
Hey, this is exactly what I expected. Sum of all skills is led by Angst, followed by me, and then we've got Daft in 5th place.
My Dominic made is 16 probably. Just want to mention. I don't know.
Oh, you have 49 stewardship and 87 learning.
But learning's actually gone down. I don't know how. Yeah, I think my goal right now is to get 100 learning, so it's capped. Like, it's not going to be used for anything, it's just... I think it's possible.
Nope, going to, what's it called, won't help. Going to university will not help you on that, fortunately.
Oh right, I was trying to take over this mine over here. God, what am I doing here? Oh, I already own this. Okay.
Oh, wait. We appear to not have any more building slots available to us throughout
Yeah.
the game.
Next tech is domain limit.
Yeah.
Breathe, boy, don't you down me. He has the Black Death, run for it.
Not before
Black Death
Nathan.
hasn't been implemented yet.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's
Russ, you frickin' rock star.
What did I do? Oh, did I capture their leader?
You captured their leader and it went from us losing by 6 points to us being at 100.
Excellent.
Excellent work, sir. Well, how do you fancy a fee? Oh, I've got half. We've got 5 of the other most powerful vassals in my prisons at the moment.
Let the heads roll.
It is kind of tempting. This is the 4th Civil War, I thought.
Got to send a message
I agree.
that you may be old and weak, but you are not old and weak.
Oh my god, my son, who's a leper, is having a grand wedding.
All right.
Interesting.
McGreb's just been released. And
Right, well now I'm going to rebel. All that hard work for nothing.
Hey, I'm gonna hold a feast with you as a guest of honor, bud. That 200 gold helped pay for the food.
I'd rather just have the gold.
Oh, one of our prisoners escaped somehow.
He wouldn't have been able to run away if you chopped his head off, like I said.
That is a fair point. Is it the Kingdom of Guinea you are? Or the Kingdom of...
Guinea.
Yeah, cool. That's what I thought. There you go. There's an enormous feast starting now, and you're the guest of honor, sir.
Woman, you weren't even alive yet when this skull was extracted from a wolf. How do you make claim on it? You have an artifact that belongs to me. It's a wolf skull that was. It was the wolf skull that was extracted 100 years ago, and they're not even born of the same person.
I'm sure there's a
Sorry,
a
Martha, I only
parchment
just saw
somewhere.
that.
It's fabricated. He's lying to you.
Yes, that I most definitely understand. And was it Trano Olivi platform pedwa either Manewi platform? Trano Olivi platform die either. Which means the train arriving at platform 4 is changing platform. The train now arriving at platform 2, so you can tell people that understand enough Welsh by you see the two lots of crowds move because Welsh announcements is first. Yeah.
Sounds like it's advantageous to know Welsh then.
It
Then
really
you get a head
is.
start and
It's
get into the platform.
It's a cool language. I found it quite difficult to learn the little bit I know. I'm far from expert, but it's because all the public transit information is first in Welsh. If you use trains in Wales, you want to know Welsh,
Yeah.
or at least enough to know, like, be able to count to 10 and when platforms change.
Of course, the smart people just don't live in Wales.
Wow.
It'll be 1 minute.
I honestly
Got to get away from all the mud.
don't have the weather. I mean, where mud is mainly Western Supermare. But oh yeah, that's if you want to really annoy fluent Welsh speakers. If you want to just cause rage somewhere in Wales, did you know a microwave is called a popty ping in Wales? I think I should have just summoned someone. Popty is oven. So it's a slang term. However, it is not actually the word for microwave, which Welsh people will tell you. It's the same as what's the other one that will enrage anyone from Wales? Oh, jellyfish is pescoid wibbly wobbly. It's not, but let them come and tell you that. If you're watching on YouTube or the past VOD at this point, I will be disappointed if there is not rage in the comments.
So currently my primary heir is of the wrong dynasty, but I'm not too worried since most of my vassals, a lot of my vassals are actually of my dynasty, which means that I will gain a lot of renown if it comes to that.
Please direct all your hate mail to blameflanker@gaming.buzz. You won't get a response, but then I won't get caught in the crossfire. Oh, the comments is fine. Is it Makerdon? Is my microwave in Welsh? It's just one of those things that's been repeated enough times that, like, people think it's true. Because popty ping is translates as kinging oven.
It actually does become true. If people say it enough times, it actually does become true, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the argument about pronunciation of English in America. Like parts of America talk about axing people things. Well, I mean asking. But if enough people say it in a wrong way, like, Kirk churches used to be kirks, depending on where you were in the world. So, like, language is ever evolving. It does make me smile when people get enraged at like improper language use, because as long as it is communicated and understood by others, then it's correct.
Yeah, friggin' English teachers and there. You are not good. You are well. No, I am definitely good. I'm good.
I'm good, thanks.
Apparently, Pope just demanded a part. Right.
Apparently, on like the SATs and ACTs, there used to be like for grammar stuff. They used to always include one that was like African American vernacular, AAV, and it was always like a wrong one. So it was specifically to say no, black people are not doing what's it called, grammar correctly.
That is a massive dick move.
Yes, but that's America like 50 years ago.
Morass, I'm not translating it. I know what that says. And the answer is still no. It is still a war crime.
Why do you know what war crime is in Welsh?
Well, it says instant tea from a tin in Welsh. So that translates as war crime in English.
Huh. You know what? Sure. Well, Inks, they have now married into Egypt because they asked.
You're marrying Egypt?
Board of the dynasty in Egypt, so not like I'm making a play on it or anything.
Like I don't think so. Like I kind of like the idea of Egyptian ancestors existing. I think it's mostly. I don't have like personal idea. Like I don't have a plan to go for it myself directly. I think Flanker is like long term a bit miffed about all of those Catholics in the East. So yeah, I think that's basically it.
Well, Flanker's more myth that he gets complained about the Siguit Spain, and then half of our continent is Catholic.
To be fair, we only care about one province that we prematurely agreed on with like that will be independent.
Yep.
But all Catholic, and there are no holy sites in the east, and we also didn't actively install them. It was Jerusalem that went nuts. I will note all of those things.
Did you not go to join Jerusalem on a holy war to help them establish said? Oh, have you just died, Russ? That's inconvenient.
Don't think I did, actually. Why is Egypt also down there now?
I get invited to a feast and then I die. It's like a red feast sort of thing going on.
Oh yeah, that murder feast can happen, yeah. You
That's
need
not
to unlock
what happened, just to be clear, by Fate with Alloy. Also,
Sure.
our food is excellent, I've been told.
Yes, well, unfortunately for you, my new guy is intrigue built and it's time for revenge. Haha.
You're already my spy master, bud.
Even better. You'll never see it coming.
That's because I've been skimping on eye tests. I will try one of those at some point, but it's got to be a forfeit for something. And if the date's long enough, or even if it's expired, I can't imagine it'll get worse. That will definitely be in November's charity stream. Still can't believe you did that. Also, I really don't understand the problem they think they're solving.
Why did my council get wiped out?
Clearly,
I don't know.
Clearly, I should send Flanker some American tea instead, so he can suffer on that.
No, this is American levels of tea.
I mean, instant tea in a tin can. What about instant tea from a cardboard box?
No, this is instant tea from a spray can.
Ah,
What?
well,
Yeah.
that is actually a
Now do you
level
see
of-
why I think it's a war crime?
That is so confusing. Like, okay, can you
Yes.
what?
I mean, America does have spray cheese, so I
Yep,
guess
this is the same type of product.
I don't
And
understand
spray
how you could
tea?
ever get spray teas.
Why?
we have
Eh? I'm so
spray cheese
confused.
from an aerosol can.
Well, something. Paying too much for overproduction of dairy. Something.
Well, okay, so at least instant tea makes sense because you just have a concentrated tea, in like a vial or something, and you put it in the water and mix it up.
No, but instant tea in a spray can.
But why would they add the aerosol factor?
Yes.
I'd also like to point out, I did remember correctly, America, after making spray cheese, the next step was to eventually make spray condiment everything, and we made spray bacon.
Spray bacon. That's
Is
better
spray
only
bacon
'cause
actually a
bacon is
thing?
better. Like, is it
Grand
vegetarian as
Dora
well? I would
is
guess.
fine.
It's like bacon bits and salad bars are actually vegetarian. I think they're vegan friendly as well. They're soy.
Chicken flavored dog food
I
spray.
think this is fine.
Okay, now
Accept.
Why
Point
that
us
much?
hang on, I'm going to link when I looked up spray bacon. This was also in the images, and I'm going to make 0 cents and put it in the grand strategy because it's a whole line of products. It's supposed to be a spray to improve the taste of dry dog food, but why?
Okay, so Franco has a bunch of has a few like what's it called, Dynasty members who are now kings in Spain.
Yeah, that's mainly down to someone that had some Norse heritage.
Okay. Angst, I've got one more place to claim, and then I'm gonna declare war on you for cleaner borders.
Okay, and you wanted to Upper Rain and
Well,
the part of
Thuringian
Hesse or something.
territories, and then the one in Frisia.
Pretty sure.
Whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
My heir gets diligent? Hell yeah! Well, my chosen heir gets diligent.
You got a friend request and scene from Crunchy who's on the friends list. Do you happen to know who they are? I do know who they are, and why they might be adding me. It maybe you have a game in common, but yeah, Crunchy's Maras's wife and a member of our community. If it's Crunchy spelt with a K or Crunchy peanut butter. This check is the same one. I don't know if Maras is still here, but it may be able to verify whether it is the one and only Crunchy or just a similar account name.
And I keep trying to hit shift and then WASD like you do in Kingdoms Reborn.
Welcome, my emperor. Welcome to Prague. Please don't take
Not
all my
a bit on
money.
me.
Whoa, this is actually one of the The Pope is making 255 gold a month, and not including all the indulgences that he gets.
Yeah, I mean that's good, right? I've been like doing stuff for him. Like he has like all of the temples in my own territory.
Yeah, okay. What's it called?
I'm very like beneficial. I'm helping everyone right now. Yep. Yes. Sure.
For a small fee. Don't
That's
worry about
awesome.
the bit at the bottom about interest. Fine.
I mean, I don't think any like of the Christian players really mind that the Pope is earning so much gold, right? I think it's fine for a lot of people.
That means we can take money for him more often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm very, very helpful.
I have one empress by marriage. Oh, Byzantine Empire, who is currently controlled by the House von Engstein.
Yes, that happened last session.
I think you can probably declare war on them for dynasty claims.
I mean, I can, but I kind of don't want to. I don't know. Like I have thought about
Okay.
it. It's just
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to not do it, but at this point, like with Daft doing stuff in the Fertile Crescent, now the borders wouldn't look so bad, honestly, if I just took it. So I don't know. Can I just claim title? Yeah, I can just claim it. What the hell? Yeah, let's wait. Wait and see. Because it seems like I think Hobo is going east anyways. I think that yeah, you're basically staying where you are. Vanguard's definitely not going there. What's happening in Spain? Cookie Empire. Oh god. Galicia.
Wait, it's just called the Cookie Empire.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a kingdom of Cookie Empire. Yeah.
That's confusing.
Daft, I will not demand this.
Though, looking at the amount of things around the Cookie Empire, I think they also might have gotten the Black Death a little bit early. How many pockmarks there are. A little bit of Molly here, a little bit of Molly there.
Yeah, well, that's only just happened. I think there must have been a succession that's is the reason for the
Oh, thanks, Daft.
succession.
That was very needed. I
It's-
am very pressured right now.
Yeah, I see the treasury is.
It's actually just halved. I have actually half my treasury right now. Like, no cap.
Oh,
So
wait,
cap.
what
emptied
happened?
out one of the massive treasure rooms. It's,
I've
yeah,
just been
hard times.
improving things and spending. Who's this? Balbec.
Wait, being friends with your priest gives them additional progress and stuff. So that might mean that befriending other members of the council will also help. What's the stats on your council looking like, Angst?
24, 12 as Daft. 27, 22, 23. Not excellent.
Oh, all of mine are about 30.
I apologise for my lack of diplomacy.
That's
I am
fine.
shy
I just
and
wanted to
reclusive,
as
so I
a
don't know.
It's fine. I just need you as a counselor somewhere, and diplomacy is the least needed. So it's like you just do the trash job. I just needed to do something.
I need diplomacy for that tyranny laws and direct vassal opinion gain. Do people still dislike me for tyranny? Yep, I'm still at 54 tyranny. I am also on absolute crown authority, which is not something I would normally do, but the AI decided to for some reason.
Yeah, I wanna. Holy War over here that no one bothered to join, which was nice considering it was against the Muslims. I was actually a little bit worried in doing it that I might not get or might have like half of the Muslim world come to slap my face. Thankfully, it was not the case.
Remember, if you can, to oh wait, no, you need to have happy vassals. If you ever need to give land away, angst, try and give them away to my people, if you can, obviously.
Don't know if I have. I don't know. Greatly on. I guess you have some of you somewhere inside my nation, but I actually don't know where.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to be talking to me about that because I'm like, oh, I give away as much as I can.
Yeah, I remember that you have to make all of your vassals happy.
I just recruit a knight and say, hey, here's a land. They're usually pretty happy when I do that.
Yep.
I pay them to join my court, and then I give them something to rule over. Usually helps for a generation. There's no problems in the future.
Nothing such as them being a powerful knight for a superior vassal.
Gujarati Vaishnavite populists faction. Def, what are you doing right now? You're okay. Wait, what?
Well, you see, we got in these boats and we sailed very far to the east, and then we
Okay,
accidentally
what's your plan here?
we accidentally established a trade post.
Wait, what? You in India? Twice.
Well, he heard about the spray tea and has gone to go and get some fresher versions.
Exactly.
The campaign's going okay, though. There's our players. And of course the East and West Indian tea company from the Banks.
Hey, I've turned all of Ireland into tea factories.
There's something strangely spiritually wrong with that in a sense.
They don't get any food this time.
There's tea. I mean, if a British can like survive on tea and nothing else, then it's good enough advantage.
Just be careful that they don't end up throwing it into the harbor. You know how that goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, my liege, you are granting me a vassal.
Yes. Did you take it, by the way?
I've just accepted it now. Thank you.
Someone wanted to be independent or something from Jerusalem. It's like got the option, so it's like one guy in Syria, Baldek.
Ah, right. I will make him a part of the... Wait, no, I can't. Yeah, I don't have the duty channel there.
The only problem with Catholicism spreading on the steppes is that it means I have to make the claims myself. I can't just holy war my way through. There's this massive, like, empire title-sized region that is Catholic.
I have a lot more claims than that, but
I
those are
think
the three
history
claims
would
that
say
matter.
otherwise, sir.
Just enforce the thing.
Yep, enforced.
Okay.
I do like that the land that I took as soon as last stream is already shifting to become the part of the Empire of Russia. It'll only take 100 years for Russia to consider this part of their homeland. It's actually pretty accurate.
I hate that you can't like sort code artifacts by slot. Got this. This is literally worse. What's happening? It's a better version of this. Okay.
There's a poll up in the social channel if people have a second between warring.
Oh no, it looks like one of Panzer's, one of Daft's people is gonna, one of Daft's people has a very high chance at this point of inheriting the throne.
Oh god.
See, and that's where we like. That's where we do the thing, and Daft takes the claim on the empire afterwards and breaks my empire while taking that.
I would not do such things.
Yeah,
Daft
no
is
one's
a
ever caught
very
Daft
honorable
doing
man.
that.
Count Gero Herriman of Namur. At least he's of your culture, Ryan.
What? That guy? No.
Oh, sorry, I was viewing the election in the Holy Northwestern Empire. I thought that was what you were talking about. I see Count
His
Gero.
Grandmaster just died.
There's actually a few of my dynasty in the running for this, somehow.
I always love seeing some news that makes you feel old.
That's just called the news, isn't it?
Anything in particular, Herbert?
It's news a few days old now, but apparently the primary composer for basically every single Final Fantasy game and many other sizable titles is retiring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think. So if I take Byzantium, like the problem with doing that was mostly like Anatolia, but with the Daft lands in like Mesopotamia,
Oh.
I would skip like 8 wars or something.
Of course.
I will support you, Malish, in any decisions you make.
Would anyone have Ryan?
Did you just crash,
no.
Ryan?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm pausing if everyone can stop taking actions for a minute.
Ryan, you were supposed to get this out of your system earlier.
Those were clashes caused by something else.
Right, well, you load in. So Hobo, I guess it's you I should talk about Byzantium. I guess you want the rest of Crimea?
Crimea and Moldavia would be nice, which they
Be
own
lovely.
like a province of each. Other than that, I honestly don't care. I was gonna make a cutoff at the Empire of Khazaria.
Right.
Yeah,
Either way.
I've ended up with Transylvania, but I'd be happy to get rid of the bit of that that's sticking into Moldavia.
Yeah.
Just to tidy up the borders.
Yeah, like my original plan, way back was Moldavia being under this section, since the mountains, the river makes it a nice border. Looks.
Yeah, I don't mind you getting Moldavia, honestly. Yeah, it's like I don't know how we got that part of land of Moldavia. It's probably some Jerusalem shenanigans that happened at some point. Oh, did you do something that again?
Something to do with Hungary, I think, because I got a claim on Hungary. Or maybe like the vassals after that expanded. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna claim Byzantium then, and do that. After all.
Does that mean we become the Roman Empire, or?
Yeah, I don't know what to, because I kind of like the big name Aaron Banks. It's like in big letters. It's kind of funny.
I like it as well.
Um,
I just mean like philosophically, I suppose. Are we like do we consider ourselves the continuation of the Roman Empire?
I think my family specifically thinks itself kind of above such things.
Wow.
Or below, I don't know. Like we just do business, right? But
yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah.
I do find it quite amusing that historically Russia styled itself as the third Rome, right? Or at least like Moscow is supposed to be the third Rome. So
Yeah.
Russia can claim to be Rome. We've got the Holy Northwestern Empire, which is actually the HRE in this game. And we've got the Byzantine Empire, which is the literal continuation of the Roman Empire historically. And then we've got the Iron Banks, which controls both Rome and Constantinople, so it can claim to be the Roman Empire through that. So, yeah, it's like everybody is Rome. Everybody in Europe, at least.
Yeah, except Spain, which is just doing Spanish things.
Well, yeah. Not sure what's happening with Spain.
This reminds me of the achievement I never actually ended up finishing. In Crusader Kings II, there was the achievement of Watchkism, and of converting Rome and Constantinople to the same Indian religion. There's one way to solve the schism.
Wow.
An Indian religion?
Yes.
Wow,
So-
that's going to be hard.
Oh my.
I still haven't found anyone who's done some sort of like get every single technology, and that includes grabbing all the technologies that are specific to a region.
Oh yeah, because you need to culture convert those regions, and no one likes culture converting in this game because they made it garbage.
It's just so interesting
Yeah,
how it's so much.
There really should be like culture strength in this game, and automatic culture spread.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking about. Like having culture be somewhat dynamic. Like it can be incredibly annoying, I presume, but like that is all deliberate and total at the same time is a
Yeah,
little.
they deliberately wanted to push toward the culture blending thing.
And that's really cool.
Yeah,
You know,
I love the
but,
culture blending.
But it is like, yeah, it wasn't to interrupt you, by the way.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't make it so the alternative was either culture converting your land or actually getting development whatsoever.
Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, land in general develops too slowly. Without improved development.
Yeah, kind of like it's, but it's also like the issue that like I'm 77 right now in my capital, and I don't do anything there. Like I haven't developed that province for forever.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
something they're solving next week.
They're changing that. Oh,
Yeah, but
because high development will destroy you with
yeah.
all of the plagues. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm really gonna be curious how they solve the plague protection issue, because in CK2 you made a unique mini holding for like a field hospital, or you had buildings that just increased plague resistance. But since the building mechanic in this is different, I wonder how they're going to actually do that. If they're going to make you sacrifice a building slot for for a good hospital,
Hmm.
or
I think isn't that the way CK2 worked? Or I don't think CK2 actually had the same slots.
yeah,
Specifically that.
CK2
Yeah,
you could
you could
build
build hospitals
every
there.
yeah you could
I
build every
remember,
building, and you could
yeah,
also like build field hospitals in counties that only had a couple upgrades, but they were good as like a panic, trying to
so
make sure that it didn't do too much.
I seem to remember people building borders of hospitals basically to keep the plague out. uh,
Yeah, when the Black Death happened, like in late game at the end, because of the way people like things got developed, I usually had like experience of starting in doing Charlemagne or whatever after participation, and then at the point where the plague shows up, the Black Death, it just becomes like one area that gets completely wrecked, but it's completely shut in.
Mm.
That's usually how it went in my games.
Yeah. My
I just
only
love
thing
the
is that
concept of hospital walls.
if you balance for the meta people, you're always going to perpetually balancing, and then you're going to ruin it for the average person.
Yeah, I think Crusader Kings is not really like a competitive game, so it is important that they
Mhm.
make it more fluid and flexible and responsive more than it's like, oh, this is too powerful. We should remove that.
I mean, I
At least that's
think they should.
priorities.
I
Yeah.
do think that they should be able to spread via trade route, I suppose.
But isn't even like trade
So
routes
they
right now technically?
so they can like jump
Yeah,
from
like
one place to another,
the silk
and the chances increase based on development.
the Silk Road that existed in Crusader Kings 2 hasn't been implemented in this yet, so there's not really a trade route to do that from.
But you can approximate trade routes by bringing them to develop by making trade routes, quote unquote, between development centers.
I think with
Like
their travel system, especially with the wandering, it might actually be neat to have like actual merchants using the routes or making routes, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it'd be nice if my kids couldn't just teleport all the way across the world.
You know what, Ryan? Actually, that's I hope they do that. Like using the development mechanic as like kind of organically becoming trade nodes or not. Um, and then that would, through a travel system like tracking time, then stuff could spread along those lines. Could also like
Yeah,
influence
Yeah,
both culture and
w-
plague and stuff.
the way you would do it, I suppose, would be along there'll be like a merchant thing, a merchant event, what are they called? I'm back in activity. There'll be a trade activity that would give better results on higher development. Part of the problem there,
We're
though,
back
is that
underway.
the AI is really bad at developing the territory.
thank you, Funky.
Thank you.
Yeah, so like the trade routes would be mostly normal, compared to real life, but then influenced mostly by the player, which is a common thing in Paradox games anyway.
Hmm.
I just hope it's a vain hope, a hope against hope, but they don't continue to do what they do with basically every single expansion. Um, is that in order to put more uh, more systems in, they punish the older systems by making the older systems either more obtuse or suddenly putting in negatives to those systems. Um, like they did
Yeah.
frequently with new systems in EU4, where, yeah, it's a new system, but then you're also making less money because of the way the system works now.
I mean, if they make a modifier that gives you +4 gold, like the end game in CK, I never really made it there, but from what I know, like money stops mattering and stuff, like fine, already, right? So if they like add more incremental income through, like, let's say trade routes just give net gold, right? Then it has to come from somewhere, or like they have to make later things more expensive, maybe, or something like that. Because otherwise it's I see like the logic of that.
Well, the
Yeah,
way you would balance it is by making it pretty expensive to transport all the goods that you're bringing.
well, I mean,
Wait, what? Who am I grading?
even with the system of the plagues, my biggest worry is that, oh, by the way, not only are the plague systems going to lower your development, which is kind of the goal of it, in order to prevent it, you also have to make even less money by having to spend a building slot to build a hospital that's not going to be nearly as effective as it was in its predecessors, because that would be too much.
Yeah.
The
But
feeling
how
of
would you,
having
how would
rank-
you otherwise?
Well,
I mean, we're talking about theoreticals here, but how else would you get players to? Because the problem is at the moment, like realistically, the game doesn't punish you at all for really stupid strats. In fact, it encourages them. Build nothing but military buildings? Fine, just ruffle stomp your neighbors when they rise up. Build nothing but money buildings? Well, you didn't need anything else anyway, did you? You've got money, you can just buy mercenaries. Like, there are so many ways that you can just ignore all of the game mechanics. I think having to think more carefully about the slots would be the way I would personally prefer them to do it, because it means that you can't just have a couple of massive gold making areas that like mean that money is irrelevant. There has to be so, because otherwise people are going to manage, like players manage the fun out of games all the time.
So back to the the plague transportation system. All those like activities and wandering and stuff would be great ways of the plague spreading. Like someone gets the plague and they don't know it, so they're an asymptomatic carrier, and that can be like a hidden a hidden flag on a character, and then they will spread it without even realizing that they're spreading it.
It could be possible. Kind of a jerk way to do it and basically cancel out having the want of any wandering people, but just close the borders to wandering people.
It wouldn't be guaranteed, obviously. It'll be a
Yeah, but
chance
if
of
if it's a hidden thing like that, it might be better to just close your borders to wandering people entirely, or kick them out immediately the moment they get there, which then kind of cancels out the fun of the system. There's things like that. Like, one of my longest standing complaints with Paradox, like in general, is with their expansions. I understand you need to make punishments for systems, but you also need to make rewards for the systems. And the reward in a lot of the expansions that Paradox does is overcoming the negatives rather than making a positive for you to actually chase. It's just there's more stuff in your way to say that you overcame, which after seeing that happen to multiple games for years does grind on you a little bit.
How
At
else
least for
would
me,
you
anyway.
make people use the new systems though and punish them for not bothering to learn them? It's a genuine question. I don't have a dog in the fight because I haven't used any of the previous games you're talking about.
I think it's good that they're doing the plagues. I just think that there should also be some kind of option to make like a lesser hospital that's not going to be as effective as sacrificing a building slot, but as an alternative rather than just doubling down on removing options from the player. Because what it's doing is, oh, you can't develop as much, and you're also making less money because in order to protect against the thing that we're adding, you also have to build a building that would have been used for a money slot. They're really, really good at doing that, where they're doubling down on the negatives and not really making a positive.
Well, the
And-
positive is that you won't be impacted by the plague.
Yeah, the positive is overcoming the negative system that they're doing,
Yeah,
which
which is
what you're
what games are
talking
built to do. Like, you're built to have a challenge, right? Because otherwise,
yeah, they just never really make a positive system or a further thing to chase after that, or
Okay,
like a
so
reward for overcoming it, other than the sake of overcoming it, which is my
here's
thing.
one. Here's one. Say, no increase. So you know how there's the text that get that like urbanization counties now reach maximum existing development penalty at 55 development. Maybe that should also increase plague resistance, or like
Yeah,
up to a
I
certain
mean,
development, plague vulnerability doesn't go up as much.
yeah, even just something that I know it sounds minor, but even something that's like, hey, here's a positive to help you that isn't just continuing to take things away from you, is something that they really struggle with their game mechanics.
I think the problem is
Survivor
that they're
of the
adding. I can see the challenge because if they're adding net new game mechanics, the reason they're adding them is to increase the challenge and to make you have to make less simplistic choices. Because otherwise,
Yeah, and
everyone is currently in this game making simplistic choices.
and something like Ryan saying, "Oh, if you focus on learning, you can get it to where you're going to be more, learn a little bit more about medicine and get a resistance. That's a reward for something other than overcoming the system."
So, like, if you overcome the system, then, like, say, when plague happens, popular opinion would actually go up in my opinion, because people would be more reliant on help from outside sources. Just don't lock yourself in your castle, or people will hate you.
But isn't that haven't they said that's one of the things they're going to be doing on the preview video?
Yeah, having the
Kinda.
option of locking yourself in your castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I remember Crusader Kings II. One of the few things I experienced was plague. You lock yourself in your capital, and people quickly start to hate you.
Yeah, still a thing you could do for lesser plagues, because those would only usually last a few months and wouldn't generally have too much penalties. Obviously, don't lock yourself in your castle for the Black Death, otherwise your people are probably going to start eating each other in the castle.
But like, yeah, it's a good question. Like, I just like meaningful choices, so to say, and they could get finicky quick. Like, I don't mind that. Like, now we have a long-term same game, so we see how it happens. But getting like a protection building against plague stuff that requires a building slot. I don't remember if that's how I did it, but it's a potential. I don't mind that myself.
I wouldn't
I
mind if that was an
think that's
option. I just
I think it's fine,
there
honestly.
should be other
Yeah.
options.
I mean,
Sure, but I like having like a choice of do I want to be wealthier, stronger, or have like break protection. I like that as a choice. This is a question as options and choice. I remember Mark Rosewater were talking about it in Magic the Gathering. That there's like, can we? Oh, this is annoying.
The only thing
Yeah.
is, depending on how they do it, which, knowing Paradox, I'm going to lean toward what I'm saying. Could be wrong, of course, but with how they often do it, it's not going to be a choice of being strong and wealthy or spending a building on the resistance. It's you're going to get your pants kicked in on you unless you build this because of the way they implement the system.
yeah, but that's like saying, oh, well, I built barracks and didn't want to build sewers, so I don't know why I've got dysentery. Like, yeah, you chose poorly, but if you built sewers, you would improve happiness, or...
Doesn't that cycle right back to just the players always choosing a specific option, like you were saying?
Well, but that's what we have today, and in fact, you get all of the benefits and none of the downsides. Like, really, like city by city, if you can just build if every city can be good at everything, that's not really representative of real economies. And there are downsides to building public health buildings. Even today, are you building a hospital or are you building a school? Which gives you a benefit? Are you building a road network? Like, it's... I kind of feel like I do like this game a lot, but I think that other than getting the snot kicked out of you early game or having like a bad roll, bad event, I don't think anyone really struggles through CK3. And I think that they don't really have to make any choices that are detrimental to being able to just paint map big. So I kind of look forward to the challenge of like, hey, great, you've got a huge population. There's downsides to that. Are you going to build a hospital now? Or are you going to wait and hope that you get your extra building slot before you have, like, it's detrimental to you not building that type of building? I think that makes a ton of sense because you're balancing. And it also means if your neighbors did build the military stuff to ruffle stomp you, then they may have a plague that completely destroys them. It might hurt you too, but will really damage them primarily because they have gone for that really simplistic, like, I've done nothing but military, I've done nothing but economy build.
I'd like to add something to this idea. People like when things are sanitary. Have that building give a small opinion bonus, popular opinion bonus, because it's so hard to get a popular opinion above 0 in this game.
I'm fairly sure that's what they said they were going to do, though, wasn't it? That if you deal with plagues well, your population will be happier. If I'm missing something, please push me in the right direction.
No, I'm saying the medic building should increase popular opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm down for that. Like,
because there isn't a building that just flat boosts popular opinion.
I was trying to look through press releases to see if they'd actually explained how any of the systems working. Any of the press releases, so I can.
Yeah, I suppose if the actual building is more than just disease resistance, it might lean a little bit more.
Yeah, but how many buildings are just one thing? Like, farmsteads and nut tree rows do two different like they give you there's not a building tree that I have seen, and again, point me in the direction I'm wrong, that just does one thing other than no, even guilds, they do development growth and tax. Nut tree, like the farms, give you holding taxes, supply limits, and development growth. I haven't seen a simplistic, like, this building just does this one thing, so haha, sucks to use that slot. And CK3 at all so far.
Something like cattle pastures is just tax and levies.
Yeah, that's still, and supply limit.
There's still 2 things. Yeah,
There's
3
still
things,
multiple things. Yeah. And in fact, when you get to the top, it's development growth, garrison size, levy reinforcement rate, levy, supply limit, and tax. It's a lot of things.
Well, yeah, that's also to the late game, which obviously in the late game it does more. It's just how many people are also playing until the 1300s.
Well, but even if we're looking at now, the cattle pastures, I mean, we're fairly developed, but level 5, which I think I'm behind the curve on you guys. The level 5 building is also doing tax, supply limit, garrison size, levy reinforcement rate, levies, and development growth. In fact, it starts doing that from all of those things from level 4, and from even at level 1, it's tax, supply limit, and levies. So you're getting some military benefit out of it, some supply limit benefit out of it, which I suppose is also military, and some tax. So like even at level 1, it's not doing just one thing. So I'm not worried that they're going to introduce buildings that just do a thing and have no other benefits, because they've literally not got a single one here.
Personally, I don't really count the supply limit as a thing. As
Really?
proper addition.
Do you not play in Africa a lot? Like really? Like that?
Supply limit is actually quite kind of important.
Yeah,
I think.
It is the single biggest killer of my armies. Is not fights; it's getting to them. It like walking through the desert areas or just areas with lower supply limits is an absolute killer for military strategy, unless you just don't care about your army.
But when I raise my army, because how easy they made military, even when I press the raise all, unless I have them at a really cramped up spot, they automatically split themselves for the supply.
Sure, but then they still have to move through the territory together, and if you've got a corridor like this area for stream, that there's no way I can go around it, I have to go through it. The supply limit is, even at this stage, even with working on it, is still like 3,850. My army size is 14,000. The attrition you take is disgusting. So it's worth but if I invest in that corridor, then the rest of my empire doesn't grow as much. So it's a choice.
Just walk them in a line instead of all at once.
Sure, and then you can very slowly get ruffle stomped one at a time, as I just did earlier by the Kingdom of Maghreb, who haven't had to do that. They are spawned at the top, so my troops turn up tired, thirsty, and hungry, and get absolutely ruffle stomped one at a time because they won't all get into battle in time. Because there's only 4 territories? Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 territories that I have to pass all my troops through one at a time. And you get to the other end, and it's drylands, which is still 6,000, 7,000. And you get mountains, which is 5,000. Well, you get on a boat at loads of gold. So I think sure,
then
if
the
you're in
enemy...
an area that has massive supply limit and you've never had to think about it, that's great. But I would say it is a mechanic that makes a big difference if you notice it when it's not there.
Then the supply limit in those areas is factored by their buildings, though. So it would point that.
Sure.
Yeah, but you can't build pastures in desert.
Yeah.
So it is literally like actually getting across it. It's been a long time, but I did play as Mali for like 2 campaigns, I think, and it's absolutely insane. Like even doing Crusades, like, and it's not just the AI. It is just kind of tough. Getting from one place to another and not losing half your army after when you get to a certain size. And it is like kind of a check. I don't think it's enough of a check actually, but it is kind of a check, like dealing with a rebellion in some strange part of your nation that you have to either raise there, which takes forever, or like, yeah.
I mean, it said you can move the flag around if it's just a rebellion, unless it's
unless you get rebellions on 2 sides at the same time, or you have as someone that has had to walk my troops back and forth through one of the 3 tunnels in the last 3 games, because every time I go up north to fight, the south rises. Every time I go south, the north rises. If both of them rise at the same time, I've got to fight at both sides.
I have built Oxford University.
Congratulations.
I will say though that if you don't have issues with supplies, then you're probably doing something right, because you can do something, like you can do stuff and play in a way that it doesn't become as much as a problem. I'm really bad at it. For example, like I went through economy. I I'm bad at fighting. I'm bad at setting stuff up. I win because I have more money. It's not just this game.
Yeah.
So if you don't have issues with that, that means you have managed a part of the game, and then may become more or less invisible. I will say though that I do think the tension is there, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like I like having to fight something in my game. I like have to deal with some problem, if that makes sense. So like the question is, should supply be an issue? Yeah, I think so. Is it an issue? I think so. If you have mastered it to a degree that it's not an issue for you anymore, then
or if you're in an
then
area that
you are-
naturally has higher supply, like if you're in areas that are less arid or less mountainous, supply is not so much of an issue.
Constantinople has like a supply limit of 38,000 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And in my territory, like where I've gone for finance, I think Niani's supply limit is 47,000. Yeah. But that's no use to me at all.
47,000.
The further I go north. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
And I think that should be the case, because otherwise everyone is the same. You're just changing flag, and every region's the same. You're just changing flag. If you're invading from the south or even from the north down through the kind of arid areas, they've already used their building slots up. Like, it's cool that you think there should be more supply, but they saw you coming and thought they needed more barracks because they're already there. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I've ever seen issues with supply in this is when the AI doesn't pay attention to it whatsoever, because Paradox AI is not always the best. And it's only worked in my favor. I've even played in Africa as Hausa doing the Mother of Us All achievement, and I didn't really have a problem with it. I just walked my army separately, and I never really had a problem with anyone threatening me, because they were all one behind each other, so they would just trail into each other, or I'd move them all to the same tile for like 2 months to do one major battle, and then I was able to split them back up.
Yeah, which means that you're having to do some microing, so that you're having to think about how you get through the area rather than just ruffle stomp through, or you have to do the buildings.
I don't really think that having to stop the army to do one major battle is really thinking about it.
I mean, sure. I don't know what what would you like the better solution to be? Because they haven't released it yet, and I can't find any information on detailed systems.
No, I'm not
also
saying
confused
that
about
the system is bad. I'm just saying that it's not really an issue if you're whatsoever.
If you build towards it, or aren't playing someone that's going to be aggressive or big on the other side of it, I think is my point. Like, Maghreb have 4,600 soldiers. If they had 10,000, I would get ruffle stomped, just because I would lose thousands going through that corridor, or have to take a very long time getting there. And if they aggressively attack back, I'm just stuffed. Which might just be I'm bad at the game, because that has happened to me on several occasions. But I think, like, if the argument is the buildings should do multiple things, they do. If the argument is you don't think those multiple things are useful, I mean, sure. But it does still have a benefit.
Okay. I was also a little bit confused, honestly, because I didn't quite remember what the point of the supply limit discussion was quite. So yeah, it has to do with like the point of the supply limits for.
Well, it was the point of buildings doing multiple things, but when technically some of those things that were being brought up are not really that.
Right.
Useful.
I think supply limit is quite useful. I will say it's not as useful defensively.
It doesn't really matter in a defensive war, other than through particular geographies.
Probably my favorite example of a building doing multiple things is blacksmiths. I build those everywhere because they give a percentage of actual holding taxes, and they give stationed men at arms damage and toughness at later levels. So even if I don't have a man-at-arms stationed there, I will still build. Also, almost always build a blacksmith.
Yeah. But I will say, like, to Hobo's credit, I don't think the spy-middle part of patches are that useful.
So they've got legendary story events. So I'm looking through press releases to see how much hints they've given us. You can get a court chronicler. Your legends.
Yeah, they have that whole legends system they're doing.
Oh, I'm fat. Great.
Well, that's not good. Get on, Pat.
Which,
And even do
honestly,
that.
more credit to them. Just to make their player base happy, adding more things to the DLC that adds the plagues is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a legend system too.
Yeah, because it's gonna.
like-
It doesn't introduce your legitimacy to rule, which is a really interesting mechanic as well, right?
It's kind of the thing, like, so you can like make a playstyle when you. I'm just gonna pop up while I'm talking. Like, again, it's one of those things. Do you play something that has a lot of legitimacy but expands slower, or something that does quicker but is more unstable because people don't like you because you're some peasant? There's like two different ways of experiencing that game. So really like. Sorry.
Actually, never mind. It's not angst. It's daft.
What's that?
Your house members are embracing heresies, sir.
Was that over in
I saw the
Persia?
Valdesians showed up.
Yes, that's over in Persia.
Valdesians spawned in Persia. That's wow. That's amazing.
You mean the Pope's all the way over there? What has he done for us? I didn't vote for him.
I'm 59 and
Nope,
feeling
nope, nope,
good. Full of body is so nice to have.
I like that my holy stick is. Wait, didn't I get an upgrade on that last session? What? Yeah, that's something changed here. That's weird.
Some upgrades for this stuff from like grand tournaments
Oh, it's
are
temporary.
temporary.
So okay. It's got +8 progress on top of the +2 learning. I felt that was so awesome, but apparently.
Yeah, I had a +24. I had a net +24 sword at one point
Nice.
because I got 2 temporary +8 bonuses. It was funny. I kind of just destroyed everyone.
Waiting on activity guests, -1 remaining.
Oh no!
Oh no. That
I need
sounds
to
like
call
it's-
God and reports a problem. Hey God? Yeah, you made -1 person. Oh.
Dude died on the way there, and no one knows yet.
That could actually make sense. Okay, can you please end the war? Not you. It's like I'm waiting for my stupid vessel here to whatever it is.
Is thing working now, Angst?
Yeah, is it? No, it's still -1. That's fine. Doesn't matter.
How long until the event starts?
3 months.
Oh, okay. So it
Yeah.
works technically.
Yeah, it's like ticking. It's just like if they don't arrive, they just don't arrive. It's not anymore. There we go. Thank you. Stupid wall. But yeah. So I don't know if I got to finish this point. So there's a question that Mark Rosewater brought up in regards to Magic the Gathering design. As always, foundationally, Magic is very good. There are some problems with what they're doing right now, I think, but let's just go with this principle. So when you look at a card, you like look at the game mechanic. There's like a question of options and a question of choices. Options means that they're not mutually exclusive. You can pick both things, while choices are mutually exclusive. He thinks, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I think I just kind of agree that choices are more interesting than options. Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite guiding principles of Magic is that all cards should be better than Shock, worse than Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. Stuff like that is kind of interesting.
optimal
That some of the
damage for-
earliest.
The optimal damage for a 1-cost card is 2.5-ish.
Yeah. So that means there's some really interesting tension stuff that they end up in just because of that weird quirk of an early card being too strong. So they're just doing weird things, trying to adjust, see how much power can that shit.
Yeah. Then you got like the bunch of blue cards that will just draw a lot. Stop the other player from doing anything. And stuff like that. They did not understand the power of draw back then.
Yeah, so really interesting. But they kind of did, just didn't think that they would be as
1
powerful
mana
as they
draw 3.
Yeah, okay. They actually, they knew that was broken, by the way. But they thought that because of they kind of organized the game. The original idea was that I have to click something here. There you go. The original idea was that because they wanted they wanted like players whenever they lost a game to give around their cards.
Yep.
And that was of course a horrible system that rightfully got removed. But that was the idea, so they didn't really mind making broken cards because the idea was that it would organically get thrown around in like a small community.
Yep.
And then they like found out, of course, that that's complete nonsense. People don't like losing their cards, and then all of a sudden people sit on draw 3 for 1, take an extra turn for 2, and stuff like that.
But that was actually part of a set of cards. With Lightning Bolt, Growth, a sudden growth, I think it is, +3/+3 until end of turn, which is also not very powerful.
Yeah.
And I think Dark Ritual.
Yeah, Dark Ritual and Healing Salve and what was the other one? Giant Growth.
Yeah,
and an interesting thing is that so they knew that they were completely unbalanced. The what was they called it? The boon cycle, I think. The idea was that they were just with this 3 for 1 card, like 1 mana to get 3 of something. They were very aware that it was completely unbalanced.
Most of them aren't super overpowered. They're just kind of overpowered. Like even Giant Growth wasn't too bad.
No, the only bad card is Healing Salve. But it's like they just knew how unbalanced, like between the cards, the power level.
Specifically, 1 blue draw 3 was considered one of the best cards in the game, on par with the Marcus.
But they knew that. That was not really the point of the cycle to be balanced. By the way, I just wanted to
blue was also overpowered back then, so you know.
Yeah. Oh no, Daft.
I love that the thing that's basically just, hey, counter target blue spell for 1 red mana is used in competitive play when it's legal.
Is it 10:30 this game finishes?
Yes.
Usually.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing that they used to do, and like early Magic was wild, man. Like it's because like the point of that cycle was to show how the colors acted differently. That was the point. It wasn't point to be balanced or to show like all of those things. So it's like the cycle was of different rarities too.
Wasn't there also a card that that what's it called? Gave you an extra turn for like nothing.
Yeah, 2 mana. 2 mana for extra turn is insane. It's time walk.
Oh man, they effectively reprinted that card with with just a slightly different name. For
2
5
mana?
mana. 5 mana.
Oh yeah, that's time warp. I think is the new card's name. And since time warp, even they started making more cards for like slightly more expensive. Now it exiles itself, so you can't loop it anymore. They want like newer cards of course. The old cards are what they are, but newer cards when they make it, they exile themselves, so you can't loop it. No, I don't want to be a witch.
Well, that makes sense. My favorite thing in Magic is that it is the unsets, though.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, there's actually some really fun stuff in it. I'm kind of bummed that Unhinged has that gotcha mechanic. Because I really like the asses. I want to clarify, this is not swearing, it's donkey people. Yeah, onset is amazing. I never really tried the what was it called on the second to latest card, the one with the tinkering and the what's it called? Contraptions.
Ooh, MTG Arena though has a format called Alchemy, where
Oh yeah.
where a bunch of cards do things that you can't really do in tabletop play, and I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah. I do like a lot of the alchemy stuff.
Like, there's one that's there's one sorcery that's some amount of of mana, and it's summon X Llanowar elves and one of this kind of elf. And it's like everyone knows what a Llanowar elf is.
Do you get like a real card, so to say, from it? Like to get like a does that go into the graveyard as a Llanowar elf? Am I making sense here?
No, Llanowar elf is one cost elf. One,
Oh yeah, I know.
one,
But
one for one,
the cards the mechanic summon, are they cards or are like tokens? Do they go to the graveyard after they die? It's like tokens or what is it?
I think they're tokens.
Okay, because like
but after casting one, I have never lost a game.
Alright.
Just because it's a win condition.
Yeah, sure. Like it's a lot of mana, a lot of creatures. That makes sense.
Well, I keep it for until I have like 10 mana, so I can make X go high, go up and up and up. But then you've got the ring wraiths, which are just so awful in alchemy.
Yeah, I haven't
hate
much
fighting
followed the
them.
newest. So what do ring wraiths do?
You can have 7 of them in your deck. Whenever you play one, the ring tempts you,
Right.
and they get +1/+1 for every other ring wraith in play. I think they get counters based on how many others were in play, and the synergies are just crazy.
Oh, sorry, I just had a huge coughing fit. Ugh.
Oof, that sucks.
So do you play a lot of arena right now?
I'm not playing Arena right now. But
Yeah.
I was a couple months ago.
Right. I haven't really played that much in arena and stuff for a while. Sorry. I have mostly been playing Commander casually, like once every 3 months or so. For a
Yeah,
long time.
MTG Arena doesn't have a commander format, and I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I much prefer multiplayer, but 3+ for Magic. It's just like my style of play. It's less like Hostile. Like I don't really like stuff like chess and stuff like 1v1. It's more fun with like dynamic with story and people. It's kind of rising and falling. In and stuff.
Yeah, I get that. Wait, there's an entry fee for grand tournaments?
Maybe if they. Maybe? I need some water, by the way, so POP.
Oh, I'm over 400 monthly income.
Laz, meanwhile, is losing money, and he must have been for quite some time because he's down to 80 gold.
You should have said something,
You
man. I'll
have
send you
your-
some money.
See, the issue is he's double his domain limit thing, so he's not been getting any money for God knows how long.
So why haven't you sold off domain?
Because I didn't notice.
Oh yeah, you are. Yes.
I thought things had gone a bit smoothly with me dying.
Much smooth, very yes, sir. Yeah, a lot of it's over domain limit, so buildings are disabled.
Yep.
Should I do like the Byzantine thing? Like now?
If you want.
Just kind of want to see if they have like some league positions or something that could, But yeah, also Ryan, you are allied with them.
Wait, why did I lose my ability to qualify for the recital? I went from like 30 qualification points to 1.
Stumbled over your words too much.
I had 30 qualification points for this recital. Now I have 1. And I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm close to qualifying. It looks like I will qualify. Or not. Should I just accept that?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
accept. Also means that Hobo can basically take Kerch and the Moldavian provinces, like basically immediately.
By the way, Angst, have you seen the core languages
Oh my God.
screen recently? I
Yeah,
find it kind of hilarious
see a lot
that
of High
High
German.
German, all of the Middle East are speaking High German. That seems wrong somehow.
Oh my God, I'm at
Wow.
56% chance to win this recital. Wow.
By the way, in thinking of how to fix some of the things, I had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Actually having the troops raise up in the provinces that they're from. It's not only you actually have to think about gathering all of them, You can't just conquer land and then move up your rally point and make wars go significantly faster. AKA how the system worked in Crusader Kings II.
You actually prefer that system in 2, I think. It was like bothersome, but...
Me too, but I think that Man at Arms should deploy directly, because I assume they can be a bit more stealthy about it. Yeah, maybe not.
But like,
Help,
honestly,
but-
for me, it's more that... oh, hello, Daft. It's more for me that it's something that people that prefer to talk a lot about, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. That particular part of the...
I think it makes map painting significantly easier and quicker.
Does it also make the game significantly more
Yeah.
fun for most players, though? I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way to play, just...
Like, to a lot of people, like having 16 units spawn in Jan Mayen or something. I don't know it's not on the map, but you know the point. That's kind of annoying. I think I prefer the older system, like after having played with a lot with both, but it's really not like it's. There's so much other stuff going on in CK3 in regards to like flexibility and stuff you can do that. Being able like that's the system here. I don't really mind it. It's not.
Yeah, just when you're talking about how easy it is to just go conquer things, well, that's one of the things that makes it significantly easier. Much easier to map paint when you can immediately bring up your troops wherever you want. And I'm kind of the mind of, in order to make things challenging, there kind of has to be some manner of obfuscation or slight annoyance, because you can't it's really difficult, and in some cases, depending on the systems, impossible to make it challenging without also making it kind of annoying after you've done it the 30th time. Like, that's just kind of inevitably how things go.
Also, here Daft is something. Where is it? Yes, here's a chair that gives plus
Well,
10 renown.
That's just the same reason I'm kind of thinking that hospitals should, hospitals, sewer systems, that sort of thing should take up building slots. Because actually it's the massive numbers of man-at-arms that you can bring to bear in the mid-game onwards that is the ruffle-stomping bit.
Daft, please accept the gift.
Sorry, I was in the middle of
I'll be right
something. I just had a new daughter. That's great.
Yeah, just they need to do actually something useful besides
Thank you, Angst.
that, or they need to make more than just that. Like, I'd be perfectly happy with the temporary solution of being able to, like, plop down a field hospital. That's not as effective as a dedicated building, of course, but it's helpful. And in the long term of the game, you'd be spending more money on just plopping a field hospital down to solve issues as they arise instead of making a dedicated system. But it's the point of options.
Yeah, I mean, you do have options. You can just ignore it and then get devastated by plague. It's like ignoring military and getting devastated.
But at that point, that's not really an option.
Well,
It
neither's
is.
not building a
And
military today. Like, it's...
Exactly. So it's not really an option. It's you have to do this,
if
or
you-
you
if
get.
you-
No, that's
No, you have to do it or face the risk. It won't necessarily happen. You just massively increase your chances. And it'd also temper the amount of military buildings most people can build.
With how plagues worked at CK2, they were frequent enough that it would basically hard cap your quote unquote development. It's been a while, I don't remember exactly how they factored that in, but I do know there was a manner of development level in that. That wasn't just. I don't believe it was as flat as it is in this, where it's just a number. But I do know that larger cities would generally always have that unless you had some kind of building.
So if you taking the field hospital idea for a second, if it doesn't have any impact on building slots, and it does, and you can just pay for it with money, which by the time plague comes along, if you're not rolling in money, you're not playing well. If you're like trying to min-max your chances at growing an empire rather than actually role play, so it would be a no-brainer that you could just ignore the system and just plop a field hospital wherever you like. Because like, how much gold are you bringing in a turn right now, Angst?
Yeah, 730.
There you go.
With all of my armies raised, with
I'm not saying the field
84,000
hospital
armies raised.
I'm not saying the field hospital should fully solve the issue, though, but it should have a mitigation effect. That's the difference.
Yeah, but then you're having your cake and eating it constantly, so you can just ignore the system.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying a mitigation effect that doesn't solve the problem that a standing hospital would, but still is something to
such as say, like have one of your counselors be able to go somewhere and set up field hospitals.
Yeah, or even not having as much impact from the plague, but still having an impact. But it's not as devastating as it would be if you didn't have it at all. That's what it means.
No,
I think they're
get
gonna
that.
do-
I think the problem is that players will just manage the fun out of it for themselves. Because I can tell you, unless the mitigation was enormous, they're just going to spend gold on field hospitals and ignore the mechanic. Because the downside in the short term of choosing not military buildings or not gold would mean that you have less armies, which means you're less able to defend yourself, which means you're more likely to get ruffle stomped. So no one would ever choose the hospital, so you wouldn't really use the system at all. It's not a choice. It's the kind of opposite direction, because sure it sucks, but you know, in the meantime, managed to get to the development size that caused me the problems with plague. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, just that players do it all and when players are moaning about this before they even know what the mechanic is. But I think that without forcing you to do something about something as basic as sanitation or medicine, then most players will just ignore it.
Well, yeah, managing the fun out of the things, especially for a strategy game, is something that is inevitable. Even games that aren't strategy games, that's inevitable. And fighting against it is just, you end up trying to tailor it so hard that then the average person can't really pierce it.
And I think that's also a consideration, that I wonder how many... If you're super into all of Paradox's games and you've been playing since CK1 and, you know, then sure, making a complicated system that you can get around it with would make sense. Whereas I think the majority of players are just getting frustration from that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I've been
going for the vocal few was what I was saying.
I've been playing Paradox games for probably 10 years now, but I specifically don't play the optimal way because it's more fun than trying to optimize the fun out of it.
I remember playing Europa Universalis 1 in 2001, which is why I get a little bit frustrated with EU4, because I've invested God knows how many hours in EU1, and EU2 is very similar to EU1. The EU4 is like similar enough for me to feel like I should know what I'm doing, but then there's like a million new mechanics and things that are different.
When Daft said that, I
anecdote.
think I've heard a new wrinkle form on his brow.
Yeah, as an old man yells at cloud.
Uh,
But it is actually something that I can relate to, I will say, because like to me, also he is a 16-year-old Mr. Merely. Oh no, we don't want to do that because alliances. You don't want to align. I might not figure that out.
They're complaining that I'm not joining the war, so I'm gonna siege down a couple border provinces.
Yeah, do it in Burgundy, I guess.
And yeah, since EU4 has been getting consistently developed so long, and all of it focused into that game instead of a new one, there's so many systems in that it's basically entirely unapproachable to an average person who doesn't know half the systems already.
Yeah, I
that's
guess
like
it's-
the main reason I see for. That's like the main reason I see for them releasing new games to get a new player base in there, and then, like I did with CK3. Because I was never gonna learn CK2. It was way too much of. It was way too hard.
Yeah, like I wouldn't either. Honestly, I wouldn't have touched CK2 if it wasn't for I think it was Hobo and Chaos and a couple of other people at times got me into it, and being able to play it with other people on voice calls was like the only way I was going to learn how to do anything, and even then it took hours for me to learn the basics. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise I did think CK2 would have completely passed me by.
And I think the challenge is as well, developers can't win either way, because you're like, if you build a new game, they're like, well, see virtually every release in the last few years as a sequel. You could have just used the existing one; it was fine. Why didn't you build every system you built into the previous one into the new one? Because it would have been an unapproachable mess, and also development hours. But
It's also like, why would you?
Honestly,
Why would you
for
make the same
for
game twice?
yeah,
honestly, for EU4, some of those systems being massively cut down would probably be a good thing. And for
Yeah.
Crusader Kings, honestly, having basic versions of those systems that they could then massively expand upon with the DLC is something I still stand by being preferential than to just cutting them entirely from the product until
yeah, but
it's in a
then
deal.
you'd have to increase the base price of the product. That's the reality. Like, it's
Why would you need to?
Because the development hours are still needed to build every feature, even if you build them at a basic level. No development hours are free, even if you are building on an existing system. I'm literally building a product right now that everything exists in the previous version of the thing that we built. Literally none of that code base is usable to us, because it's built to do different things at a different time on, and for games it could be different GPUs, different, whether it was built using Unreal or previously they had a deal with someone else that they were building on their engine, or that the engine needs a huge overhaul because you found it was capping out, which was never a problem. If your PC could only handle 100 sprites on screen at a time anyway, who cared? Now you've got multi-core monsters. People are like, well, why am I hard capped on my pop? Why is City Skylines? Why City Skylines go slow when have million pop? Like, it's there is no programming system that you can just port over easily, and there is no such thing as a small programming task. Sorry, bit touchy on that because I've been shouted at today about these exact things. Be like, because it's not even written in the same frigging language. Like,
Also, can you stop sieging at this point, maybe, Ryan? Because we got 6% under.
Okay,
so if you can...
I'll siege down this one more, and that's it. But
it's-
one of
it's-
these places took 11 days to siege.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. I'm standing there the same thing. Like, every time I take a province, you take the same war score back. So if you could not do that,
Okay,
I
on
would
to the last
be in a-
one.
so don't do it. Like, I might actually be able to do it here within time, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think I have time. I think it's okay.
This reminds me of our Age of
23
Empires
days.
game with the number of trebuchets we have. Kind of crazy. I've got 100 angst has.
That did not do it. Oh my god! Okay, can you please just retreat from worms? I'm missing 2 war score.
This will be like maybe 1 war score. I don't think I'm even making any war score from this. Oh, I am. Never mind.
You are.
I only started making it as of taking the whole county, though. So this won't take the whole county, so I'm gonna finish it.
the only way I
90
can...
gold, okay? I want that 90 gold.
Could Angst just not give you the 90 gold and you stop causing him problems?
Yeah, I can also just give you like 500 or something, and
It's the principle.
uh,
Oh my god.
The only way I can think about explaining like how
yeah, that's
development
4%.
works is that if you work in a retailer today and you manage a retail store, and you're then put in charge of managing a net new retail store, given the same amount of time the last one was built, the same amount of hours, the same amount of people, and then they are, oh, would you mind actually, we don't want a corner shop, we want it to be a supermarket. But how about you just build the building for the supermarket, we'll expand into it later. That's not even vaguely the same question anymore. You're now building a supermarket, not a convenience store. And the more you add on, even
Internet
small
just
dev
jumped.
tasks really do add up.
I got DC'd.
Oh, what?
Or
We just got 100% war score as well.
at the end.
Can
of
you
the
pause
time
at least?
anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're at end of time. It's not a world-ending problem now. It's
Yeah,
not
well,
showing
I-
DC'd on my end yet.
Yeah, but it is showing him at August 21st.
That's fair. Hang on, I'll pause up. Oh, right.
And
now
my
it's
thing,
It should-
for,
I should give
my
a
thing
notice in
for
a
that
moment.
is, of course, it depends massively on the developer. Obviously, for someone like you, Flanker, that makes perfect sense. But for someone like Paradox, who they're using an engine that they have for quite a long time and are building games specifically for making money per the DLC, it certainly would have helped the initial release of Crusader Kings, because I know that there was a good chunk of people, me included, who were just like, this is just a simpler version of CK2, why would I invest money in this? And I barely played the thing until the DLC for the actual court events.
And that's a fair position. Like, you pay your money, you take your choice. But when you did then pick it up, you picked it up with the DLC, which meant the development hours were then available because the DLC is funded development. And
Well, yeah, but if I didn't play it with you guys, I probably wouldn't have done that. It's the thing. So it's like still.
oh, that's fair. Then they learn the hard way. Like, that is market making a choice. But it's it's showing you've left now, Hank, so I'm saving it up. If anyone else wants to save a copy as well. I think the thing is, even if you're building the same engine, so I'm building a platform. Be very careful about what I say. I'm building a platform at the
Platform
moment
fighter?
for that deals with financial transactions, right? It's the platform I'm building on has dealt with financial transactions for 8 years. We built it from scratch. We've been building that platform to deal with financial transactions since then. We have to overhaul the code on that every 2 years. It doesn't just stay working. There is no, because you take advantage of new security features, you take advantage of new ways to refactor your code base to make it work more efficiently. You work harder on making it be able to take advantage of more processing that's available or less processing that's available. You make your app lighter if you can to refactor your code base, because adding a thing will make it bigger. So you're then trying to refactor it down to make it as efficient in size as possible. So I think the perception that there's just like this engine you built this thing on, so just update the graphics and do it again, is really not how development actually works. Unless you are literally taking the same engine, and then you'll have all sorts of problems, like suddenly DirectX 11 or DirectX 12 won't work for you, or it won't work with certain GPUs, or it can't do ray tracing, or it can't do 144 hertz. So there's so much that's just the core of, and that, like, I'm talking about something that's super simple, like in enterprise scale, but incredibly simple. And it's dealing with millions of transactions. But even that needs completely overhauled. We have systems that we're overhauling every 2 years from scratch. But on the front of it, it does the same thing. What do you mean you've just spent 5 developers a year's time to do this? It still does the same thing it did 5 years ago. Like, yeah, that's where we spent the developer hours, so it does.
Yeah, and that I understand that. It's just
Thanks for the games, guys.
it's
Yeah.
without knowing
Yeah, I'm off
the-
too. Good night.
wi-
Good night.
without knowing the
I see it.
internals. That I'm just speaking from, a viewer and a consumer's perspective, which is a perspective that I think a lot of sometimes companies don't actually fully appreciate about their. Yeah, I know their stuff is really hard, but they also need to think about the people on the other side and why they're complaining.
Well,
And-
they do, but they just can't meet your needs. I think that's the thing. It's like when people complain that a table's too expensive that's been made by an expert craftsman from 100-year-old wood. I mean, it's probably not too expensive. It probably costs the right price. It's just not in my price bracket. Like, I'm never going to be able to afford it. And what the players are actually doing when they speak to the developers, especially the way they speak to the developers, particularly around strategy games and actually shooters as well. It sucks to be a developer of a shooter. Is that they go, well, just give me more stuff in the same amount of time for less money. Like, you want the same price on release as you had the last game for, with 5 years of inflation. So they're actually going to have less team members than they had before, and less hours to dedicate it to it, even if they have the same development period, because they have to meet the price that you want. And if they do it as a $70 game, and then that means that, sure, some of the players will be happier because they had all those systems in. Most of them will still moan and say, well, I don't see why it was $70. This has all the same things as the last one had in it. And then on the other side of that, you've got developers being completely burnt out because they are being asked to do more with less. And I mean human beings actually developing the product. Like, the only way game maths works without studios going out of business, and people complain when studios go out of business or abandon games, i.e. finish a game and then don't do any more content for it, is that they have to have a budget on the number of hours they can dedicate to a thing to get to a price point. If they dedicate more hours to it, the price point has to go up, or they have to sell more copies. If the price point goes up, they sell less copies. They're better off doing a more simplistic version and selling more copies. And then if you buy the DLC, then you did care about it and you voted with your wallet and get that choice. If you don't buy the DLC, cool, you didn't care about it that much anyway, and they've released a standalone game that works, and you're still getting free updates for it. Like, I'm not saying all developers are great and, you know, perfect, by no means. My previous rants about, like, developers versus publishers aren't always the bad guys, like stands, but it's down to the developers to cut their cloth accordingly. And if the more systems you add, the more complexity you add, the more errors there are, the more QA that needs to be done, the more people complain about bugs on release, the more, like, they're doing trade-offs all the time. So you have to release the product that you can for the number of hours you have. Because otherwise it's like me cutting all the staff out your store and saying, hey, if you wouldn't mind just running things for us, that'd be great. Oh, and double the size. Cool. No more money. But think of all the people that will come to the store if you do the job more efficiently. Like, it's just not a real... I think developers have done a bad job of explaining to people because they don't want to upset people. But the reality is, you're like, cool, you're asking for the impossible. It's not happening, but you can keep asking. And then it means that gamers don't get listened to when they have genuine concerns that the developers should address. Like, why are there so many bugs in this? Did you try to do too many things at once? Couldn't this have waited for later releases? Couldn't we have done a staged release? Those are reasonable things to say. You don't have enough content in your game. Also, why is it a buggy mess? Also, like, those are just saying, I want more and more and more of your time for no additional money.
Yeah, I mean, I my main thing with Paradox comes down to a game isn't really comparable to its predecessor until like 3 years in development.
Sure, its predecessor's been out typically for them for 7 years. That makes sense.
And for the predecessors, besides Crusader Kings II, those predecessors weren't from the Paradox era where they made 20 DLCs. So
yeah, but you're also not paying 20 years worth of inflation on top of a $40 game. Like, you were paying more proportionally for games back then than you are today. So they had more money to play with, and also didn't have the expectation on the other side. Like, if you got a game like OpenTTD, when it released, it was done. You got it on a CD if there was an update. If you were lucky, you got a copy of an update on a PC Gamer Mag. If not, oh, you've updated from Windows 3.1 to 95. Your game doesn't work anymore. Good luck. Go buy it again. Oh, we've decided that it's not really worth the market share to develop it again or publish it again because it costs a lot of money. So your game's just not going to work anymore. Sucks to be you. And then the problem is, like, developers do try and address this stuff. They listen to gamers and then gamers complain. So Total War do this stuff, they developed day one DLC. So like we think it would be too small to release just this game on its own, and lots of people would like to do these other things. That will take a lot more development time. All right, well, let's cut it out. Cut out all of these things from being a part of the core game, so we can deliver the core game on time in the way we want to, and put it as a DLC, so we can do the in-depth systems that people want for that additional DLC. And what was the war cry on day one release? Oh, this is just content. I can't believe it. Why didn't you just do it for free? You should have done it in the main game. Like, companies aren't charities, and also people have a set number of hours that they can work. And
I mean, for like Warhammer 3, which I assume is close enough to what you might be exampling, as far as I was aware, they were kind of developing the ogres along. For example, that came out. They had a basic version of that come out with a free update for Warhammer 2 for people to test. Then it was a DLC for Warhammer 3, which is fair. And then the Immortal Empire for Warhammer 3 didn't come out until like a year later, but that was the same thing they did with Warhammer 2, so that was fair. And then they made the DLCs that barely had anything in them, which is what caused the outcry much later.
Or much earlier. They cut content outcry about having Chaos as a faction, when Chaos are one of the widest factions, was a ridiculously stupid thing. And that's what made developers stop listening. And the problem is when developers stop listening, because if someone just moaned at you every day, you worked exactly your hours and you worked hard during those hours, and someone said, well, why didn't you do double your work? At some point you're just like, these guys are all arseholes, I'm leaving it. Like, cool. No, they ran at me all the time about that. And that means they stop hearing the legitimate concerns that gamers have that are things that could be solved. Yeah, no Mortal Realms on release for Warhammer TW3 was also a thing. There's no example of a game I can think of that wins on all counts. You either have limited support, limited scope, and even then people are like, oh, I wish everyone said great things about Baldur's Gate 3, and then it's now onwards, and they're like, well, why didn't you do more content? I've done the story. Like, because it took several years and lots of money to develop this.
I remember specifically about that, like, because like I am also a bit sad that the Upper City or whatever isn't in the game, but I understand why it's not. You know, and it's like there was actually like some people were really upset about the Upper City not being present in the game, and I'm like, I was about to say that specifically.
For Baldur's,
I'm okay with Upper City.
For Baldur's Gate, the biggest complaint I hear is that the third act feels kind of flat, which is the last thing that they developed, so they had to cut the most bits off of.
Like it's more like it's interesting because there's so much stuff to do there, but it's not like the amount of ways you can go about the Goblin Camp. And everyone knows there's a Goblin Camp in the game. I think I can talk freely about that. I won't be specific, but there's so many ways you can go about that specific encounter. And there's not really an equivalent of that in Act 3. Then like most of the the things you do there are. You may have 3 options. Yeah.
Hello there, Mr. Honk.
I see we are doing a flank attack. The flankers switch out.
Yeah, off to. I'm raiding Bold. That doesn't mean the conversation has to stop. I'm enjoying it.
The other problem you've got is Act 1 Goblin Camp. Do you know how many paths people normally take through it?
They usually take like I think it's one or 2 ways that people usually go in. Is that
like
what you mean?
80 to 85% of players did the same path through the Goblin Camp.
Yeah.
So they put all this effort in for something that.
Yes. And it's lovely. Like it's cool that there are like those corner cases, but making that for all of Act 3 I don't know how. Like. That would be surprising if it took like one more year to finish it, 2 more years just to iterate on all that to make it bug free. I do really appreciate that they got into insane deaths in a lot of places, but I'm not expecting that for Act 3. Is the point? Like it's like it's nice. Thanks.
Well, each act, if you think they spread the development time perfectly, which they didn't, but if we pretended for a second they did, each act took 2 years, and what they've probably done is had 3 or 4 years on engine Act 1, then a bit of a rush towards the end. But they did the best. I think they are still the best game in terms of right sizing that has released in the last 5 years, and there's still complaints about it because there's not limitless money.